Chapter 1660. The news of Yin Kongtian's death and the disappearance of Qiuxiu, Nangong Wu, and Su Mei quickly spread throughout Mingyue Court. Many disciples in Mingyue Court knew about it. Have you heard? Yin Kongtian, the direct disciple of Xintian's sect, was killed. It's been a hot topic for a long time. It's said that Nangong Wu was on a date with her lover, but Yin Kongtian ran into her. I didn't expect the lover to be so angry and kill Yin Kongtian. Even his 4 guardians and many of his subordinates were killed. What a femme fatale. I knew that Nangong Wu was not a good person. Now it seems that I was right. Not only did she seduce her lover, but she also colluded with him and killed her fiancé. But I heard that Nangong Wu didn't agree to the marriage at all. It was the Wang family who forced her to do it. So what? She has the blood of the Wang family in her veins and has received their favor. Is it wrong for her to marry the Yin family? I can only say that she is an ungrateful wretch. I heard that Nangong Wu is not the only one involved in this matter. Su Mei and Qiuxiu are also involved. Maybe they also have an unspeakable relationship with the lover. No way. Could it be that the man has one foot in all 3 boats and accepted all 3 women? It's not a can't. It's inevitable. Otherwise, why would Su Mei and Qiuxiu go with the lover? Of course it's a threesome. Messy. The circle of nobles is too messy. I didn't expect that these 3 women from the indigenous continent would be so frivolous. It's really despicable. I've seen through these women's nature. They come from small places and are ambitious. They want to join a rich and powerful family and improve their status. There's nothing they can't do. Fortunately, they've run away now. Otherwise, if they continue to stay in Mingyue Court, who knows how much trouble they'll cause. Maybe they'll even bring disaster to Mingyue Court. They're just 3 vixens. It's best if they're killed by the Yun family. Otherwise, they'll continue to embarrass Mingyue Court. Many of the disciples of Mingyue Court were discussing among themselves. They were already very dissatisfied with the 3 new disciples, Nangong Wu, Qiuxiu, and Su Mei. They thought that the 3 of them had stolen their limelight and large amounts of resources. Now that they heard that the 3 of them had actually joined forces with their lovers to kill Yin Tiankong and cause a huge disaster, all of them took joy in their misfortune and wished for nothing more than to add insult to injury. And among this group of people, the most worried were Nangong Wu's mother Wang Fong and father Nangong Hai. Xiao Fang, what do we do now? How can the Wang family bear the consequences of their daughter's actions? Nangong Hai frowned. How is it possible? Wang Fong sneered. If Xiao Wu appeared here right now, perhaps she would be captured by that group of old bastards of the Wang family, thrown to the Yun family, used to appease the Yun family's anger. Even now, many of the elders of Mingyue Court want to capture Xiao Wu and the others and punish them according to the rules of the court. Therefore, the 3 of them cannot return. They will be in big trouble. She was very familiar with the power of these families. For the sake of benefits, they could abandon everything. So abandoning a younger generation of the family was nothing. Not to mention that Nangong Wu was actually not a member of the Wang family. She was only a niece. In this way, they would have no psychological burden to abandon her. In that case, we must inform Xiao Wu. We absolutely cannot let them return to Mingyue Court. Nangong Hai said in a low voice. Don't worry, I have already informed Xiao Wu and the others. Let them temporarily leave Mingyue Court. Wang Fong sighed. Actually, I already knew that according to Xiao Wu's character, sooner or later she would resist being forced to marry, and something would definitely happen, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. In fact, she also wanted to stop this stupid marriage, but the problem was that this was the decision of many elders of the Wang family. She could not resist the thigh, and finally compromised with the Wang family for the time being. Most importantly, in fact, the Yun family could also be counted as a noble family. Yin Tiankong was also a direct descendant, a favored son of heaven. No matter how you looked at it, he would be a good son-in-law. Unfortunately, Nangong Wu did not like it, so there was no other way. Forget it. According to Xiao Wu's current strength, even if she left Mingyue Court, it would not be a big problem. Moreover, she has someone by her side who can kill a Transcendence Realm Master. so there is even less need to worry about her safety. Nangong Hai said in a low voice. Hearing this, Wang Fong could only nod. Meanwhile, on the other side on the stars, Sumei, Qiu Xue, and Nangong Wu also received the news that they were wanted by Mingyue Court and Xintian sect. After hearing the news, their faces turned green, especially Nangong Wu. She was like a crazy kitten, staring fiercely at Xiaoping, because she received an important message from her mother, telling her not to go back to Mingyue Court. Why are you looking at me? Even if I am very handsome, looking at me for such a long time will still cost you money. Xiaoping blinked his eyes. Handsome my ass. Nangong Wu spat at Xiaoping, very angry. It's all your fault because you bastard did things without looking at the consequences. Now, we are all wanted criminals, and we can't go back to Mingyue Court. Once we go back, we will definitely be arrested and locked up for hundreds of years. Maybe we don't even need to be locked up. We will be directly destroyed. She was half dead with anger. Before she met Xiaoping, she was still a pure and flawless disciple of Mingyue Court with a promising future, and there was still hope for her to become a disciple of a saint. Now, what disciple of a saint? What supreme treatment? All gone. Now they were all wanted criminals, criminals hunted by Xintian sect and Mingyue Court, unable to go back even if they had a home. She was really down on her luck. Don't worry. When I kill the Yun family and destroy them, no one will dare to chase you. A murderous look appeared in Xiaoping's eyes. Killing the Yun family will only make things worse. Nangong Wu said angrily. The Yun family is one of the important forces of Xintian sect. If the Yun family is destroyed, then it will mean that Xintian sect will not rest until one of us is dead, and then there is no way for us to go back. Then there is nothing I can do. Why don't you travel back in time to one day ago? Xiaoping spread his hands, indicating that there was nothing he could do. You. Nangong Wu looked at the rascal Xiaoping, who looked as if it had nothing to do with him, and she wanted to punch him. Forget it. What's done is done. Since we are already on board, what else can we do? We can only look forward. Qiu said helplessly, trying to dissuade Nangong Wu. Anyway, there is no point in staying in Mingyue Court. I have already learned what I need to learn, and I can completely survive in the universe. Now is not a good time to leave. Sumei smiled slightly. Hearing this, Nangong Wu felt deeply helpless. Indeed, as Qiu and Sumei said, no matter how angry she was, it was useless. She had already boarded Xiaoping's pirate ship, and there was no turning back. We are almost at the Yin family planet. Look at it work. Chapter 1661. Yin Family Star, Yin family's ancestral ground. Many elders were having a meeting, including family head Yun Cha. Even 7 or 8 Thunder Retribution Realm Supreme elders attended this meeting. The atmosphere was solemn. I believe everyone knows that Yin Tiankong was killed by a villain. Even his 4 protectors died a violent death. This is a heavy blow that our Yun clan cannot bear. Yun Cha, the Yin family's patriarch, said, what villain is so bold that he dared to kill our Yun family's elders and descendants? Is he tired of living? A Yun family elder was furious. It is said that a bitch called Nangong Wu had a rendezvous with her lover, but Yin Tiankong saw through her. I didn't expect that bitch to fly into a rage and join forces with her lover to kill Yin Tiankong and the others to eliminate future troubles. At that time, the 4 guardians in the dark wanted to rescue them, but they were all killed by them. One of the elders told him what had happened. Damn Nangong Wu, where did she come from? Immediately exterminate her entire clan. She even dared to kill people from the Yun clan. She must be tired of living. One of the supreme elders was instantly enraged, and he wanted to kill Nangong Wu's entire clan. He thought that it was because of some treasure or ambush by the Yun family's mortal enemy. He didn't expect it to be because of jealousy. Because of such a small matter, the Yun family's descendants and 4 Transcendence Realm elders were killed. It was ridiculous. No matter how many people died, it couldn't calm the anger in his heart. We can't. Nangong Wu is the niece of the Wang family of Moon Pavilion. It is said that she was born on a primitive planet. No one knows the specific location. An elder told the information about Nangong Wu. What? Many elders were shocked, and immediately calmed down. With their strength, if they wanted to fight with the Wang family, both sides would suffer. It was impossible to destroy the Wang family. After all, although the Wang family's power had declined, it was still not inferior to the Yun family. The Supreme Elders said angrily, "If we can't destroy the Wang family, we will destroy that primitive planet. Kill those natives and all the people close to her. We must make her pay a heavy price." His plan failed, so he thought of another plan. "Supreme Elder, the problem is that apart from Nangong Wu's mother, Wang Fong, no one knows where that native planet is. Immediately interrogate Wang Fong. Make her explain clearly and pay the price. It's very difficult to interrogate her. Recently, Wang Fong's cultivation has improved by leaps and bounds. She's already a Dharma plane cultivator. At the same time, she's also an elder of Mingyue Court and the Wang family. She has friends all over the world. Mingyue Court is filled with her life and death buddies. Unless Xintian Gate and Mingyue Court go to war, it's impossible to interrogate her." All of the elders felt extremely helpless. Originally, they had relied on their authority and were successful in every endeavor, destroying whoever they wanted. However, now that they had encountered an existence of the same level as them, they were not afraid of their threats at all. All of their previous methods were useless. Hateful bitch. She is truly a femme fatale. I must find her. I will make her wish she was dead. I will make her suffer a fate worse than death as a sacrifice to Yun Tiankong. The Supreme Elder gnashed his teeth in anger. "Don't worry, Grand Elder. I've already mobilized all of the Yun family's connections and put out a bounty for Nangong Wu and the others. Once there are any clues, they will definitely die." The head of the Yun family, Yun Cha, said coldly with a murderous aura, "That's good." The Supreme Elder nodded. At that moment, the stars had already arrived near the Yun family's planet. Due to the star's outstanding concealment ability, it could escape into the void. No detection system could detect its existence. Therefore, even if the stars were close to the Yun family's planet, the Yun family would not know. "This is the Yun family's planet? It does look extraordinary." Xiaoping stood up. Through the virtual projection, he saw the huge planet outside. It was at least 1,000 times the size of planet Yinwang. It could accommodate 1,000,000,000,000 people. It was fine if it was just large. After all, there were many planets in the universe that were larger than this planet. It was not a big deal at all. The problem was that this planet had been continuously built and forged by the Yun family for hundreds of thousands of years. It had undergone earth-shattering changes. The entire planet seemed to have been forged like a magic treasure. Countless rare materials had been added to it, making the planet extremely sturdy. It was like a war fortress. Looking from afar, this planet was covered in tyrannical restriction arrays that were filled with endless killing intent. Even if a Thunder Tribulation realm mighty figure approached, they would probably be killed by these restriction arrays. Furthermore, they had also set up many detection formations. If an enemy were to invade, they would be discovered immediately. Such a defense was practically impregnable. As expected of the Yun family's base camp, it was simply a tiger's den. Ordinary people would die if they barged in. See, this is the Yun family's planet. It's heavily guarded. After hundreds of thousands of years of forging by the Yun family, its defense is second only to the headquarters of a sacred-level sect. Not to mention, there are many experts inside. There are even 7 or 8 Thunder Tribulation realm mighty figures. Nangong Wu wanted to stop Xiaoping's ridiculous behavior. It's indeed a little troublesome. If I'm alone, I'll need to summon help. Xiaoping touched his chin and waved his hand. Swoosh! 2 cute Lolas appeared in front of Nangong Wu and the others. One was wearing a white dress, hugging a white pillow, and sleeping soundly. She was even drooling. Xiaoping had pulled her out, but she didn't seem to notice anything. She was still sleeping soundly. The other was wearing a black dress. Her cheeks were bulging and stuffed with food. Her eyes were wide open, and she seemed to be very angry. Xiaoping, why did you pull me out? Don't you know that I'm eating? Don't you know how rude it is to disturb a lady while she's eating? She was also holding 2 gigantic lamb legs in her hands. They were twice the size of her body and were roasted to a golden color. The surroundings were filled with an enchanting aroma. After saying that, she took another bite and slurped it noisily. "Cut the crap, you freeloader." Xiaoping reached out and knocked her head. "This time, I need you to help me destroy a family. They are my enemies, and they want to steal my food." "What? Someone dares to steal our food? Are they tired of living? Who is it? I'll go and destroy them immediately." Hearing this, Lu immediately exploded with killing intent. There was actually someone who wanted to steal food from the mouth of Tao Tai. This was simply too daring. They wanted to steal food from the mouth of Tiger. They were tired of living. "Xiaoping, you beast." At this time, Nangong Wu widened her beautiful eyes and stared at Xiaoping. "I knew you were a beast in the past, but you still have a bottom line as a man. You only attack mature women, but now you don't even let off little Lolas. Where did you kidnap them from? This is too much." Chapter 1662. What Lolita? They are countless times older than you. They are old enough to be your ancestors. Xiaoping said lightly. "What?" Xiu, Nangong Wu, and Su Mei immediately woke up. This is the universe. There are countless races, and they can't look at others with ordinary appearances. Sometimes the other party looks like a Lolita, but they don't know how long they have lived. "Xiaoping, what do you mean? This is too much. What ancestor? I am still a minor girl in the Tao Tai clan." Tan Menglu glared at Xiaoping angrily. How dare he say that she is old? What man? No matter what race a woman is, she will be angry when others say that she is old. Xiaoping explained the origin of Tan Menglu and Little Dumbo to Qiushu and others. One is Tao Tai, and the other is actually Gaia. My God, these are mythical creatures. Qiushu, Nangong Wu, and Su Mei all stared with their eyes wide open. Gaia and Tao Tai are basically legendary creatures in Yanhuang Star, just mythical beasts in their imagination. In fact, not only in Yanhuang Star, even looking at the entire universe, they are extremely rare creatures, and many people will not have the opportunity to see them even in their lifetime. Therefore, the shock of Qiushu and others can be imagined. They want to see through Tan Menglu and Little Dumbo and see what is the difference between them and humans. What are you looking at, humans? Believe it or not, I will eat you. Tan Menglu bared her teeth and made a fierce look. But this look is even cuter, making Qiushu and others excitedly touch her little head. Brother, it's so noisy. At this moment, Little Dumbo woke up. She reached out and rubbed her eyes, looking at Xiaoping blankly. Little Dumbo, do you see the planet in front? You will eat it later. Xiaoping pointed to the yin star in front. Eat? What do you want to eat? I want it too. Hearing that she wants to eat, Tan Menglu suddenly became very excited. She is very interested in this matter. That planet has a defense. It is very hard. Little Dumbo glanced at the yin star and said, she saw that this planet is not simple. It is completely different from ordinary planets. The power of the restriction array is everywhere, like a magic weapon. She wants to eat this planet in an instant, which is thousands of times more difficult than swallowing other planets. It's fine. Let's destroy the planet's restriction array before eating. Xiaoping suggested that as long as the planet's restrictive formation was destroyed, the planet would be devoured by Dumbo in an instant, just like any other planet. All right, Dumbo nodded. Meng Lu, go eat this planet's restrictive formations and destroy them all. Xiaoping knew that Tan Menglu's devouring power was extremely terrifying. She could even devour restrictive arrays and completely corrode them. There were very few things in this world that could resist Tao Tai's devouring power, at least not the Yun Clan star. If you want me to help, that's fine, but you have to treat me to 10 meals. No, at least 20 meals. Tan Menglu rolled her eyes and took the opportunity to make a request. Is that so? Do you want me to stop your meals and let you starve for a few days so that you can reflect on yourself? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. Master, please let me help. Upon hearing that, Tan Menglu shrank back immediately and looked at Xiaoping pitifully. It was not easy for her to live a life where she could just eat. She did not want to go back to the days where she had to starve and fill her stomach. She lost her Tao Tai's backbone in an instant and gave in right away. Not bad. You're worth teaching. Xiaoping was very satisfied and patted her little head. Then, He looked at the Yun Clan star in front of him and said, "All right, let's go and destroy this planet." Swoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the infinite star charged into the Yun Clan planet instantly. Like a meteorite, it crashed into the core of the Yun Clan planet, which was the Yun Clan's headquarters and also the core of the planet's restriction array formation. As long as the core was completely destroyed, the entire planet's restrictive formations would collapse. Boom! The stars were too fast. Even though they did not hide their tracks when they entered the Yun Clan star, the Yun Clan star's detection formation could not react at all. It fiercely crashed into the Yun Clan's headquarters and instantly created a deep pit with a diameter of more than 10 kilometers. The surrounding buildings were destroyed by the terrifying shock wave. At the same time, there was a magnitude 7 or 8 earthquake, causing the entire Yun Clan's headquarters to tremble. Deep cracks appeared in the surroundings like the Great Rift Valley in East Africa. At this moment, many elders of the Yun Clan were in a meeting to discuss how to deal with Nangong Wu and the other bitches. They were also thinking about a series of plans to catch Yun Tiankong's murderer. However, they suddenly felt a strong tremor. The terrifying shock wave almost tore their meeting room apart. The buildings collapsed one after another. Instantly, many elders' expressions changed. Damn it, what's going on? Who's causing trouble? Don't they know we're in a meeting? How dare they disturb us? Do they want to be sent to the frontier to mine? A supreme elder immediately cursed. His body was filled with a terrifying aura. Originally, he was in a bad mood because of the death of Yin Tiankong and the 4 protectors. Now, someone actually dared to cause trouble on the Yun Clan star. Wasn't it like provoking the Tai Sui? Supreme Elder, it's not good. Enemy attack. It's an enemy attack. The guards of the Yun Clan outside immediately shouted in extreme fear. Clang, 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 clang. At the same time, countless guards immediately rang the alarm system of the Yun family. Countless bells rang, shaking the heavens and the earth. The bell rang throughout the entire Yun family planet, letting everyone on the planet know that a mysterious enemy had invaded the Yun family planet. No matter what they were doing, they quickly woke up. Enemy attack. Who dares to invade our Yun Clan star? Are they tired of living? Many elders immediately burst into an uproar. They felt that it was unbelievable and unimaginable. Ever since the Yun Clan star became the headquarters of the Yun Clan, it had been continuously built for hundreds of thousands of years. Since then, no one had ever dared to cause trouble on the Yun Clan star. Now, an enemy actually dared to invade the headquarters of the Yun Clan star. Moreover, they did it openly and unscrupulously. This was simply unprecedented. Has our Yun family fallen to such a state? What Tom, Dick, and Harry dares to cause trouble for our Yun clan? The Supreme Elder shouted angrily. Find the intruder immediately. I want to skin him alive and exterminate his entire clan. Since he dares to cause trouble in our Yun clan star, I will make him regret it for the rest of his life. No one could imagine the rage of the Supreme Elder at this moment. If his rage could condense into a physical form, perhaps the entire Yun Clan star would be burned to ashes by his rage. Yes, Supreme Elder. Chapter 1663. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In an instant, a group of Yun family elders flew out of the conference room and towards the stars. It wasn't just the elders in the conference room. Even the elders in seclusion, guest chamberlains, and outer sect elders all quickly came out and arrived at the Yun family's headquarters. Because a great enemy had invaded the Yun family planet, all of the Yun family's combat power had to be gathered. Many Yun family descendants were completely dumbfounded. This was an unprecedented event. Even during the annual family meeting, they had never seen so many experts gathered. Look, that's a Tribulation Realm expert. Our Yun family's 9 Grand Elders actually came out in full force. Behind the Grand Elder are the 36 Celestial Dipper Elders. All of them are Transcendence Realm experts. They've condensed the Heaven and Earth Dharma and are extremely powerful. When the 36 of them work together, they form the Celestial Dipper Formation. Its power is boundless. Oh my God, the 72 earthly fiends are here too. They're at least at the peak of the returning Truth Realm. They've really sent all their elites this time. Most of the Yin family's experts are here. When such experts gather together, they can simply kill anyone who stands in their way. If a god stands in their way, they can kill a god. Only Satan stand in their way. Who knows how many forces and powerful experts have died in their hands? So many Yin family elders have come. Is the invader that scary? It's not scary, it's anger. Someone invaded the Yin family planet without a sound, reached the planet, and destroyed an area before we found out. How humiliating is that? You should know that this is the first invasion of the Yin family planet in hundreds of thousands of years. It's unprecedented. You can imagine how furious the Grand Elders are right now. I'm afraid they even have the intention to kill that intruder. Looks like the invader is dead for sure. Doesn't he know that this is a dangerous place? Even a Tribulation Realm expert will die if he dares to invade. That's right. We'll see the invaders' corpses soon. We'll use their blood to establish our Yin family's prestige. Not everyone can behave atrociously in front of us. Many Yin family descendants discussed. They were excited to see so many Yin family elders appear. They felt that dealing with the invader this time would be a piece of cake. Soon, the group of elders arrived in front of the stars. At that moment, Xiaoping, Tanminglu, and Dumbo walked out of the spaceship. As for Qiuxiu, Su Mei, and Nangong Wu, they stayed in the stars. After all, they were not strong enough to participate in the battle. The multitude star's appearance was also disguised. Even if someone saw it, they would not have to worry about discovering its true identity. Three brats. Many of Yun family's elders were shocked. They thought that someone was invading the Yun family's planet, but they didn't expect it to be these three kids. However, they also knew that there were countless people in the universe, and they couldn't be judged by their appearance. Who are you? Why did you invade my Yun family's planet? Yun family head Yun Cha suppressed the anger in his heart. The other party must have some mysterious power to be able to invade the Yun family planet without them noticing. He still wanted to know the other party's goal before making a decision. My name is Mateto. Xiaoping casually said a pseudonym. As for who I am, you should be very familiar with it. Not long ago, I killed Yin Tiankong and a few other protectors. He directly exposed his identity. What? It's you, you little bastard. The Supreme Elder was instantly furious, and his eyes were spitting fire. You killed my family's Qilin Yin Tiankong and a few elders. You have committed a heinous crime, and you still dare to appear in front of us. Many of the elders were also shocked. They couldn't imagine this at all. It had only been a few hours since they received the news, and this kid actually came to the Yun family's planet in person. Moreover, this guy was too arrogant. He had a death feud with the Yun family, but he still dared to appear in front of them, and even personally came to the Yun family's headquarters. Did he think that the Yun family was a soft persimmon that could be pinched to death? Nangong Wu, Su Mei, and Qiuxiu, those three bitches, where are they? Immediately asked them to come out and kneel down to apologize and become the Yun family's female slaves. Otherwise, this old man will immediately kill your family and let your friends and relatives live a life worse than death. Think about it yourself. One of the Yun family's elders said fiercely, and his killing intent soared. He still wanted to catch Nangong Wu and the other culprits and kill them all in one fell swoop. He didn't want to kill this group of people. He wanted to capture them alive and torture them day and night. In this world, there were things that were more terrifying than death. Letting these little animals die so easily would be letting them off easy. You dare to threaten my family? It seems like your Yun family is used to acting like a tyrant. You won't repent even in death. Today, your Yun family's name will be erased from the universe. Xiaoping's eyes flashed with coldness, and his chest was filled with endless killing intent. What a joke. You want to erase our Yun family's name? You're dreaming. Since you're here, don't run away. Stay in the Yun family and be a slave. You're so stupid. There's a path to heaven, but you don't want to run. There's no door to hell, but you come to the Yun family's headquarters to die. How can we not help you? Capture this little animal and interrogate him. Find out where he came from and kill his family as a warning to others. The Yun family's elders sneered. They were as cruel as wolves, and their killing intent was cold. Kill him. Immediately, 9 Thunder Retribution Realm Supreme Elders made their moves. They had no interest in fighting Xiaoping alone. Since he was an intruder, they would quickly eliminate him with the speed of lightning. Moreover, they knew the kid's combat strength. He had easily destroyed 4 Dharma characteristic realm Grand Elders. He definitely had a powerful trump card, which was why he had barged into the Yun family planet so confidently. Therefore, they wanted to destroy the arrogant kid instantly, so that the little animal didn't even have a chance to use his trump card. Immediately, the 9 Thunder Tribulation Realm Mighty Figures took action. Their power was boundlessly terrifying, and their moves were ever-changing. Their martial Tao mystical powers seemed to have formed a domain, crushing an area. It was as if every inch of air within a radius of hundreds of thousands of kilometers was being pulverized. Ordinary Golden Core Realm cultivators would probably be blasted into powder in an instant, with not even their bones left. Primordial Heavenly Dragon Talismans. Xiaoping already knew that the Yun family's elders would destroy him with lightning speed. However, he was already prepared. He instantly threw out 27 Primordial Heavenly Dragon Talismans. These Primordial Heavenly Dragon Talismans were already filled with the Dragon Crystal's energy. Their might was several times stronger than before. They emitted a scarlet glow, and there was a faint roar of a primordial heavenly dragon. Rumble. Chapter 1665. Oh no, Xiaoping hide. Seeing this, Nangong Wu, Qiu Xue, and Su Mei exclaimed. They wanted to tell Xiaoping to hide, as the thousands of swords could blow up a planet. A golden elixir realm cultivator, no matter how monstrous he was, couldn't possibly survive. You want to hide? How can you hide? Just wait for your death. The Yin family elders sneered. They looked at Xiaoping as if they were looking at a dead man. They were confident of their victory. Because this planet was the Yun family's territory, it was built like an iron bucket. There were restrictive matrices all around. No matter how the kid dodged, he couldn't escape from this range. So what if he managed to dodge this attack? Once more, twice, thrice. How long could that brat hide? Sooner or later, he would be killed. Moreover, these swords could lock onto aura and break space, making it impossible for the kid to escape. Swoosh! At this moment, Dumbo, who was standing at the side, suddenly jumped up and blocked above Xiaoping. She didn't seem to move, but she just stood in midair. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of silver-white sword gleams blasted down like mercury spilling onto the ground, turning the planet into a silver-white world. Bang, bang, bang. However, when the silver-white sword chi hit Dumbo, it was useless. It was like tofu hitting a steel wall. No matter how many there were, they couldn't break through the defense. On Dumbo's small body, a layer of white energy shield appeared. This was the divine power unique to the Gaia clan, Space Barrier. It was covered with densely packed space runes. Although it was just a thin layer, it was like a world barrier. Ordinary power couldn't break it at all. No matter how the swords attacked, they were easily blocked. Xiaoping stood in the same place, unharmed. He didn't even move a step. He sneered. Dumbo was Gaia. His original body was a star. He was huge and had all kinds of divine power of the Gaia clan. The defense of his body was comparable to a divine weapon. If this sky sword earth-killing formation wanted to hurt Dumbo, it would be a fool's dream. It could be said that as long as little Dumbo was here, no matter how the formation attacked him, he would be safe and sound. How is this possible? The Black-Robed Supreme Elder and the others were shocked. Their eyes almost popped out. They couldn't believe their eyes. The Yun family had spent hundreds of thousands of years and countless precious resources to build the Sky Sword Earth Termination Formation. Its power was enough to kill all Thunder Retribution Realm experts. It was like a heaven's tribulation. But now, it couldn't even kill a little girl and was easily blocked. How could they accept such a ridiculous thing? What was the background of that little lowly? Why is she able to withstand the power of the heavenly sword and earthly fiend formation? I can sense that the little lowly doesn't have the aura of a human. I wonder what race she is. She's not human. Could she be a magical treasure, a body condensed from an artifact spirit? No matter what she is, I don't believe that the great formation of heavenly sword and earthly malice cannot kill her. Unless she is a saint, she will die without a corpse left. Dumbo she. Ping 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 said. I can ping. Tion. Ping dumb. I ping. Yes, activate the formation and kill this little bastard. Many of the Yun family's elders were enraged, and their killing intent soared. They planned to activate the Heavenly Sword Earthly Fiend formation once again and bombard it continuously to kill this strange lowly. Many elders formed hand seals and poured their spiritual power into the formation, wanting to activate it again. But right at this moment, a huge formation in the sky seemed to be flickering unstably, appearing and disappearing from time to time. One after another, the runes of the formation and the energy channels of the formation seemed to have been cut off, as though they were about to collapse. What's going on? What's going on? Is someone messing with us? Why don't you activate the formation? The Black-robed Supreme Elder was furious. How could someone screw up at such a crucial moment? If he found out that someone was unreliable at such a crucial moment, he would punish them and put them in jail. Something's wrong, Supreme Elder. There's a problem with the foundation of our formation. Someone is crazily destroying it. A Yin family guard shouted. He was sweating profusely and quickly warned. Who is it? Which bastard wants to destroy our Yin family's formation? Immediately, many of the great elders became anxious. If the core formation of the Yun clan's planet collapsed, the entire planet would probably explode. Who knew how many people would die? Something's wrong. There's a boundary around the formation. Even a Thunder Retribution Realm cultivator would have to spend a day and a night to destroy it. Who can get close? Is this a joke? Asked an elder in confusion. It's a little girl. That bastard is too cruel. She's the kind that eats everything. She even eats the boundary. We can't stop her at all. The guard was sweating profusely, but there was nothing he could do. What? Many elders immediately probed with their divine senses and found that there was a plaza in the Yun family's headquarters. It was the center of the Yun family planet's formation. At this moment, there was a huge pit in the plaza. It seemed that someone had dug it with their bare hands. Large amounts of soil were thrown everywhere and piled up into small hills. He saw a little girl devouring the earth, rocks, and spirit stones in a frenzy. It didn't take long for her to reach the core of the Yun clan's planet. There was a huge formation base at the core. It covered an area of hundreds of kilometers. It was like an altar and was covered with 10,000-year-old jade stones as the formation's energy. There was also a huge boundary around the core. It was like an energy shield. It was airtight and as thick as a city wall. No one without the formation key could pass through. Even a Thunder Retribution Realm cultivator would need a day and a night to break through the boundary. However, this little lowly was extremely savage. She didn't do anything else and just ate it directly. She gulped it down. The originally incomparably hard spirit formation was like chocolate being bitten off by her, creating huge holes. In a short while, the spirit formation was bitten through by her, and she directly entered the foundation of the formation. That's impossible. This barrier can block Thunder Tribulation Realm experts. How could she bite through it and eat it like chocolate? Many elders couldn't believe their eyes. That's impossible. Tao Tai. Oh my God, this is a Tao Tai. A great elder recognized Tan Menglu's true identity. F*CK. Which immoral guy let the Tao Tai in? Is he trying to destroy our Yin family? Many elders' faces turned green. Of course, they had heard of the Tao Tai's reputation. Not a single corner was left, not even a blade of grass was left, and the feathers of wild geese were plucked. Stop. That's the foundation of our Yun family planet's formation. You can't eat it. You can't eat it. Chapter 1666. Many of the Yun family elders were also extremely anxious, their hearts burning with anxiety. This array base was too important. It concerned the operation of the entire Yun family planet. Once it was destroyed, the consequences would be unthinkable. Moreover, they had spent a lot of effort and resources on this array base. They added mithril, purple gold, 10 millennia cold steel, earth essence stone, 9 heavens meteorite iron, 5 chi true steel, level 8 sacred wood, and many other precious materials. All of these materials were extremely precious. Some of them could not be bought even with money. The Yun family had collected them for a long time before they finally obtained them. They knew the Tao Ye's personality very well. There was nothing they could not eat. Without a doubt, this array base had become the Tao Ye's. With a smacking sound, before they could say anything, Tan Meng Lu cried out excitedly. She immediately pounced on the array base and bit it as her dinner for the day. Delicious. This is really delicious. Tan Meng Lu was very excited. Although she did not have to worry about food and drink in the space of Xiaoping's pearl of mountain and river, after eating for a long time, she would occasionally want to eat something else. This array base happened to be made from a large number of precious materials. Among them, there were many materials that could promote the Tao Ye's evolution. This made her very excited. It was as if she had entered some great treasure. Therefore, even when she heard someone shouting, she did not care at all. With a few munching sounds, she ate like a whale. In a few breaths, she had eaten a small portion of the array base. Ah, that damn Tao Dai actually ate it. I'm going to get rid of her. I'm definitely going to get rid of her. Seeing that a small portion of the formation's foundation was gone, the black-gowned Supreme Elder was infuriated. It was just a single mouthful, and he didn't even know how much he had eaten. He wasn't eating ingredients. He was eating the flesh of the Yun family, drinking the blood of the Yun family. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All the Yun family elders were furious. They rushed underground as if they had gone mad, wanting to beat this damn Tao Tai to death. Want to leave? Do you think it's that easy? Xiaoping's eyes flashed coldly. He used his spiritual power and immediately manipulated the ancient heavenly dragon talisman to attack the group of Yun family elders, preventing them from going to where Tan Meng Lu was. Roar! The primordial celestial dragons let out roars that shook the heavens and the earth. They turned into beams of terrifying scarlet energy that were like beams of death energy that pierced through everything. Dong, dong, dong. Immediately, dozens of Yun family elders were hit. Their bodies were pierced through and drenched in blood. Like dumplings, they fell from the sky and smashed into deep pits dead. Without the help of the Heaven Sword Earth Wraith Array, no one could withstand the might of the primordial Sky Dragon Talisman. Of course, to power the primordial Heavenly Dragon Talisman at all times required an astonishing amount of energy from the Dragon Crystal. Every second expended was enough to make Xiaoping's heart ache. However, in order to completely eradicate the Yun family, it was worth it. Moreover, he had to finish this battle quickly. Little bastard, if you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Seeing so many elders of the Yun family killed by Xiaoping, a white-robed Grand Elder went crazy. He didn't care about anything else and rushed towards Xiaoping like a bolt of lightning. He was vicious and cunning. He knew that as long as he killed the culprit, Xiaoping, no one would be able to control the primordial heavenly dragon talisman, and the crisis would naturally be resolved. Martial divine power, instant kill. This was a spatial assassination divine power that allowed one to teleport in front of the enemy and deliver a fatal blow. This was also the white-robed Grand Elder's intrinsic divine power, and it was extremely powerful. How dare you attack, brother? Die! With a whoosh, before the white-robed Grand Elder could rush over, Dumbo instantly attacked. As though she had teleported, she appeared behind the white-robed Grand Elder and gently smacked the back of his head with her tiny hand. With a thud, the white-robed Grand Elder immediately fainted before he knew what was happening. His mind went blank, and he was already unconscious. Following that, she grabbed with her hand and threw the white-robed Grand Elder into Gaia's space. Boom! Instantly, the white-robed Grand Elder's entire body was shattered, turning into a pile of minced meat. His blood essence, dermic powers, and essence soul rapidly fused into Gaia's space, becoming Gaia's nourishment. The energy of a lightning tribulation eminence's body was extremely astonishing. Even to Gaia, it was a great supplement. Her aura was increasing at a visible speed. Even the Gaia space in her body was expanding rapidly. In a few breaths, it had expanded by a third. Even her body's density and weight were increasing rapidly. B asterisk starred. Seeing a grand elder beaten to death by Dumbo, the remaining 8 lightning tribulation eminences were infuriated. They could not restrain their anger as killing intent surged in their chests. It was as though their bodies were about to ignite. Suppress. Xiaoping had no interest in waiting for the Grand Elders to be enraged. He immediately activated the primordial Sky Dragon Talisman's power and raised their strength to its peak. One primordial Sky Dragon after another appeared, forming the 27 Lunar Mansions array. It formed an unprecedented super array formation that communicated with the Outer Realm's 28 Lunar Mansions. Dong! The array condensed into an array diagram. Endless starlight bloomed as it crushed down from midair like a millstone. Ah! The 8 Grand Elders screamed as they were instantly hit by the array diagram. Immediately, their bodies were obliterated by the stars one after another as they were enveloped by the chaotic airflow. They struggled frantically and burned their dermic powers in an attempt to break free from the array diagram's restraints. However, it was of no use in a short period of time. It was as though Sun Wukong was being suppressed by the Five-Finger Mountain. One primordial sky dragon after another was like an orderly chain that bound them tightly, rendering them unable to move. Die, scoundrel! In the blink of an eye, Dumbo moved as fast as lightning. She took advantage of the moment when the 8 Grand Elders were suppressed by the 27 Lunar Mansions array. She grabbed the 8 Grand Elders and imprisoned them in the Gaia space. Boom! Once they entered the Gaia space, it was Dumbo's territory. She could use the power of the world and the power of space. The tyrannical power instantly bombarded the Grand Elders. Bang! 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 In just an instant, these lightning tribulation realm Grand Elders did not even know what had happened. They were all shocked to death and turned into a mist of blood. Their bodies exploded, and these essence blood, essence soul, bones, dantian, and other energies were rapidly absorbed by Dumbo. They became her nutrients and caused her strength to rise steadily. She gained a lot of benefits. After devouring the energy of these lightning tribulation eminences, little Dumbo's body seemed to have undergone a slight change. She actually grew 2 centimeters taller and obtained a huge growth. Chapter 1667. Impossible! The Great Elders are dead. All dead. Seeing this scene, many Yin family elders were completely stunned. For them, the Great Elders were like gods, existences like stabilizing the sea, the strongest experts apart from the saints. Such people were usually difficult to kill unless they courted death themselves or died under the heavenly tribulation. They were like old monsters, terrifying existences. But now, someone actually killed Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouses, and even killed 9 of them in an instant, causing Yun family to suffer heavy losses. No matter how much money they earned, they couldn't make up for it. Surrender. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the group of Yun family elders condescendingly. Now, you are fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered, absolutely unable to resist. Now I can give you a choice: immediately kneel down and surrender, become my slaves, and do hard work for me. Otherwise, all of you will die, and the entire Yun family will be exterminated. His tone was very calm, stating a fact. What? Hearing these words, many Yun family disciples were filled with grief and indignation. Not long ago, the Yun family fell into such a situation. It had always been them killing people, exterminating entire families, and killing 9 generations at every turn. But now, someone had come knocking on their door. 9 Thunder Tribulation Realm Great Elders had been killed in front of them. They were even forced to surrender and kneel as slaves. Thinking of this, they almost went crazy, extremely crazy. Shut up, Master Mateto. A Yin family elder shouted angrily. Even if all of our Yin family members die, we will not surrender to you, little bastard. If you want to exterminate our Yin family, you must pay a heavy price. Even if you die, I will make you break your teeth. He gritted his teeth, his hatred overflowing. That's right, at worst, we will all perish together. Want to exterminate our Yun family? It's simply wishful thinking. Immediately activate Yun family's extermination formation explode the planet, and fight with him. If you want to kill us, you will also have to pay a heavy price. Think about it yourself. The Yin family disciples' eyes revealed ferocity, not surrendering at all. Some even planned to completely explode Yin family's planet, letting the power of the planet's explosion kill Master Mateo. Fine, your temperament is quite unyielding. I admire people like you the most for your unparalleled loyalty. Then go to hell. Xiaoping nodded, very admiring, but he let Dumbo attack immediately. Wait, stop. Some of the Yin family elders were dumbfounded. In truth, they were just pretending to be pretentious just now. They wanted to bargain with Xiaoping, hoping to win some bargaining chips to surrender. They didn't want to fight to the death. They had been in the universe for a long time and were old foxes. They knew that it was better to live than to die a good death. But how could they have imagined that this brat wouldn't play his cards according to common sense? Seeing their unyielding expressions, he actually agreed to their wishes and wanted all of them to die. This was too much. Didn't he know how to negotiate? Didn't he know that this was a negotiation technique? Who in the world would kill all of them just because of a disagreement? This was too illogical. Boom! In an instant, Dumbo cast the Gaia clan's mystique. With a light tap of his finger, a terrifying black hole appeared in the depths of the void, producing a terrifying devouring force. Then, a projection of the Gaia world instantly appeared, covering the entire planet and devouring it. Dong! Before the disciples of the Yun family could figure out what had happened, the entire Yun family planet collapsed and was instantly swallowed by Gaia. Gaia, which had evolved to such a level, was no longer as violent as it was in the southern universe. It needed to destroy the planet before it could be devoured. Instead, it directly projected the Gaia space and could instantly merge with it and devour it completely. This method of devouring was much safer and more efficient. Ah, damn Gaia, I haven't finished eating yet. Tan Meng Lu, who was originally devouring the foundation of the Matrix, was eating happily. She planned to devour everything, but she didn't expect the entire planet to collapse. This scared her so much that she immediately fled, lest she be implicated. Rumble, immediately, everything on the Yin family planet was integrated into Gaia planet. The mountains, the rivers, the buildings, all turned into the most basic matter and integrated into Gaia's body. The space of Gaia planet was also rapidly expanding, increasing the volume of the space equivalent to the Yun family planet. Because the entire Yun family planet was made of special materials that were extremely precious, it allowed Gaia planet to produce many precious minerals. It also greatly increased the density of Gaia planet, bringing endless benefits. As for the Yun family descendants, they also fell into Gaia planet and could no longer cause any trouble. Xiaoping was also not interested in killing these people. In short, if he left them on Gaia planet, they would also fight with others. After they died, their souls would also be absorbed by Gaia. They were just ant-like characters and were no longer worth his time. Oh my god, the Yin family planet was really destroyed. This is too brutal. Even the Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouses died like chickens. Unbelievable. In the Myriad Star, Nangong Wu, Qiu Shue, and Su Mei also saw this scene. Due to the spacecraft's protection, they were not affected by the Yun family planet's destruction. However, this scene had a huge impact on them. A planet thousands of times larger than Yin Wang planet had collapsed just like that. It was completely devoured by Dumbo and taken for its own. At this moment, they truly understood what a mythical creature was. It ran amok in the universe and fed on planets. It was not something ordinary creatures could imagine. It was as if even the high and mighty Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouses were nothing. In front of mythical creatures, they were just slightly larger ants that could not jump around for long. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At that moment, Xiaoping, Dumbo, and Tan Meng Lu returned to the Myriad Star. However, Tan Meng Lu was fuming as she glared at Dumbo. Dumbo, you're too much. You actually ate the entire planet and didn't leave any for me. She was still thinking about the delicacies left behind. Dumbo looked at Tan Meng Lu in disdain, as if saying that all you do is eat all day. What else can you do? Apart from eating, You can't help at all in the battle just now. What kind of look is that? What kind of look is that? If I hadn't turned the tide and destroyed that array formation, would you have defeated those baddies so easily? It can be said that the key to this battle was all on me. You actually said that I only know how to eat? Tamung was going crazy. Phew. Dumbo yawned and lay on Xiaoping's body. She began to sleep, completely ignoring Tamung. After a little exercise, she felt very sleepy again. Damn Gaia, stinky Gaia. Seeing Dumbo ignore her, Tamung was even more furious. If she could beat her, she would definitely eat her up. Chapter 1668. At this moment, Mysterious Heaven's Sect's headquarters. The news of Yun Star's destruction quickly spread to Mysterious Heaven's Sect. All the elders in Mysterious Heaven's Sect knew about it because this matter was too serious and too evil. It shook the entire Mysterious Heaven's Sect. Who the hell did this? How could they destroy Yun Star? Mysterious Heaven's Sect's sect master was very shocked. He knew the strength of Yun Star. After hundreds of thousands of years of forging by Yun family, this planet had long been forged into an iron bucket. Even if dozens of Thunder Retribution Realm Masters wanted to invade, they would have to pay a heavy price. But now they were all destroyed. Not a single one escaped, and the entire planet disappeared without a trace. According to the Yun family's last distress signal, it seems that a mysterious person called Master Mateto destroyed them. An elder said in a deep voice, "Unfortunately, the information of this distress signal is too little. It seems that they were destroyed too quickly and didn't have time to send much information. The only thing we know now is that this Master Mateto is the culprit who killed Yin Tiankong." Are you kidding me? A few hours ago, he killed Yin Tiankong and angered the Yun family. Now, he directly attacked the Yun family and destroyed them. How is this possible? How could he be so cruel to this extent? Many elders were trembling, and they kept quiet like cicadas in winter, because Master Mateto was too ferocious. After killing the direct descendant of the Yun family, he didn't stop there. He even destroyed the Yun family and destroyed the Yun family's planet. It was said that there were at least 9 Thunder Retribution Realm Masters on the Yun Star and countless elders. It was equivalent to a mid-level sect, but it was useless. One could imagine how cruel this Master Mateto was, to the point where he could stop a child from crying. After all, the Mysterious Heaven Sect's elders were at most in the Transcendence Realm. The stronger ones were only in the Thunder Retribution Realm, which was almost the same as the Yun family's great elders. If this Master Mateto could kill the Yun family's great elders, then it would not be difficult to kill them. Sect Master, we must kill this Master Mateto. The Yun family is an important force in our Black Heaven sect. For hundreds of thousands of years, they've been an important part of our sect. Now that the Yun family has been destroyed, how can we not take revenge? We must make that Devil Master Mateto pay a heavy price. Massacre the people related to Master Mateto and exterminate his 9 generations. Such a shame can only be washed with blood. If we don't kill that Devil Master Mateto, where will our profound Heaven Sect's face go? Sect Master, give the order. Immediately kill Master Mateto and leave in full force. The people who spoke were the remnants of the Yun family. They did not stay on the Yun family planet, but stayed at the headquarters of the Mysterious Heaven Sect to cultivate. Therefore, they were lucky enough to escape from the hands of Master Mateto. But when they heard that the Yun family planet had been destroyed and that the entire Yun family had been wiped out, with only a few of them left, all of them went completely mad. Their hatred was monstrous. They simply wished they could immediately catch Master Mateto and peel off his skin and tendons. Sect Master, I think it's better to be cautious about this matter. The other party was able to destroy the Yun family planet in a short period of time. Even the Yun family didn't have time to send a message for help. His demonic might is matchless. A Mysterious Heaven Sect elder said, "If we rashly offend that mysterious character Master Mateto, it will definitely bring a great enemy to the Mysterious Heaven Sect. At that time, I'm afraid it will not be good." Old man, what the fuck are you talking about? The Yun family elder suddenly became anxious and shouted, raising the morale of others and destroying our own prestige. Are you still a mysterious heaven sect elder? The other party killed our mysterious heaven sect's territory and wiped out our Yun family. Why are you still afraid of offending that Master Potato? Why don't you eat sh*t? He was so angry that he wanted to slap this elder to death. White Cloud Hall, this matter was originally provoked by your Yun family. Of course, you have to wipe your own sh*t. Do you want our mysterious heaven sect to wipe your ass for you? The mysterious heaven sect elder sneered. Killing that Master Potato is easy to say. We don't even know who the other party is. To be able to destroy the Yun family planet, how terrifying must he be? Maybe he has the support of a saint. Without clearly investigating his background, you rashly made a move. Do you think our mysterious heaven sect is not dying fast enough? Bullshit, the Yun family elder angrily shouted. No matter what his background is, he has already killed his way to our door. If we don't retaliate, where will the face of our mysterious heaven sect be? In the future, will anyone still be afraid of our mysterious heaven sect? Don't take pleasure in our misfortune. Today, it is my Yun family. Tomorrow, it might be your Chun family, Lu family, and Lu family. If that devil Master Potato comes to our door, I want to see how you all die. Right now, this is no longer a matter of our Yun family, but a matter of the mysterious heaven sect. This represents the face of the mysterious heaven sect. Don't you understand the seriousness of this matter? He knew that the enemy was too terrifying to be able to destroy the Yun family planet. It was impossible for the remaining members of the Yun family to take revenge. Only by relying on the power of the mysterious heaven sect would they have a chance. Enough. I have naturally considered this matter. The mysterious heaven sect master said that devil Master Potato dared to kill everyone in the Yun family. This is a heinous crime and cannot be forgiven. If we don't kill him, we won't be able to appease the anger of the people. Issue a warrant to arrest that Master Potato. Sect Master. Hearing this, the Yun family elder suddenly became anxious. What he wanted to do the most was to inform the saint of the mysterious heaven sect and have a saint come forward to arrest that devil Master Potato. If it was just issuing a warrant, it would be useless. The other party was a terrifying existence that could destroy the Yun family planet. Which idiot would dare to chase after him? Wasn't that courting death? If it wasn't a saint, then it would be impossible to kill that devil Master Potato. Okay, I know what you mean, but the saint cannot be easily moved. You go down and investigate the information about that Master Potato. Once we know his origin, it won't be too late for us to make a decision. The mysterious heaven sect master, set the tone. No disobedience was allowed. Even if he wanted revenge, he didn't dare to act rashly without understanding the details of that Master Potato. Yes, sect master. The Yun family elder was very unwilling, but he had no other choice but to accept it. At the same time, the people of Mingwe Pavilion also heard the news, and everyone was in an uproar. Are you kidding me? The Yun family was actually destroyed. Except for some of the Yun family's disciples who didn't stay in the Yun family planet. The others are almost all dead. After hearing the news, some of the disciples of Mingwe Pavilion were completely stunned. They were dumbfounded. Previously, they were still discussing this matter. They thought that the Yun family was furious and might send countless masters to deal with Nangong Wu and the others. But before it even started, the Yun family was destroyed. It was simply overwhelming. This matter was done by Nangong Wu's lover, Master Potato. My mother, he snatched the fiancée of the Yun family's direct descendant, and now he even destroyed the entire family. Too cruel. It hasn't been long, and the Yun family has been destroyed. This is ridiculous. How could that Master Potato be so cruel? What is his origin? Could it be that he is the direct descendant of a saint family? Otherwise, how could he have the ability to destroy the Yun family? Chapter 1669. It seems that Nangong Wu and the others have climbed up the tree. A Mingwe court disciple gnashed her teeth in jealousy. Many people immediately nodded. It was true. Now that the Yun family had been destroyed, who else could kill Nangong Wu and the others? Even the Black Heaven sect might not be able to do it, unless it was a saint. The problem was that if a saint took action, It would be an earth-shattering event, and it would not happen easily. Who knew if Master Potato had a saint behind him? If he came from an ancient family, then he would not be afraid of the Black Heaven sect. Moreover, the universe was so big. Even without an ancient family backing them, they could just find a place to hide. Even if the Black Heaven sect went crazy, they would not be able to find Nangong Wu and the others. It's just 3 bitches. How can they climb up the tree? What kind of luck do they have? They are indeed foxes. Beautiful women bring disaster to countries and people. Who knows how many people have died because of them? It's a pity that a genius like Yin Tiankong met such a poisonous woman. The disciples of Mingyue court were extremely jealous. The 3 of them were supposed to be stray dogs, hiding all over the place and living a life of darkness. But now, with a shake of their bodies, they actually had a relationship that even Black Heaven sect's poison was wary of. How could they not be jealous? They simply wanted to replace them. It's better for you to be careful. If Nangong Wu and the others hear this, I'm afraid the families behind you will be in danger. Do you want to follow in the Yin family's footsteps? You should know that sometimes a loose tongue causes trouble. A senior sister from Mingyue court said faintly. What? Many Mingyue court disciples were shocked and immediately shut up. They remembered the tragedy of the Yin family. A big family that had been running amok for hundreds of thousands of years was destroyed just like that. How terrifying was that? Master Matato's fierce name had completely entered their hearts. Their bodies trembled. At this time, Nangong Hai and Wang Fong also heard the news and were overjoyed. Wang Fong directly said to the elders of the Wang family, "What do you think about this news? It seems that my daughter Nangong Wu doesn't need to marry that Yin Tiankong anymore." Hearing this, many elders' faces turned green. This was clearly a slap in the face. The Yin family had been destroyed, and everyone was dead. How could they marry him? Would they marry the heir? Even if they were willing, they had to find someone to marry first. Previously, there was an elder who said that he wanted to capture my daughter alive and hand her over to the Yin family to appease the anger of the Yin family. I wonder if any of you still have such thoughts? Do you still want to appease the Yin family's anger? Wang Fong asked with a smile. The faces of the group of Wang family elders were even more black like charcoal. This was slapping them to death, slapping their faces until they were swollen. Now, Nangong Wu's lover, Master Potato, was so cruel. The majestic Yin family, a power not inferior to their Wang family, with countless experts, was exterminated just like that. If this had not happened, they might have volunteered to capture Nangong Wu themselves. But as soon as this matter appeared, they didn't dare to make a move. Even the Yun family was completely annihilated by Master Mutadu. If their Wang family also offended Master Mutadu, perhaps they would also be doomed. Compared to the Yun family, their fate wouldn't be much better. Wang Fong, don't go too far. How can you be so ungrateful? A Wang family elder angrily said. Ungrateful? Who is the ungrateful traitor? In order to curry favor with the Yun family, he actually forced my daughter to marry him and then immediately abandoned her. How can you be an elder like this? You can't even protect the descendants of the Wang family and only know how to betray the country. What's the use of you elders? You're not even as good as a pile of trash. Wang Fong sneered. With a slap, a Wang family supreme elder stood up and angrily said, Wang Fong, I did all these things for the Wang family. I have a clear conscience. If the family wants me to sacrifice myself, I won't have any complaints. Oh, is that so? Do you want me to tell my son-in-law, Master Potato, about these words? Wang Fong sneered. When the time comes, he wants to exterminate the Wang family. Only if you die, the Wang family won't perish. Are you willing to sacrifice yourself for the Wang family? With a swish, many Wang family elders' faces turned pale. The other party could even easily destroy the Yun family. If the other party really came, their Wang family wouldn't be able to hold on for too long. Elder Wang, it's better not to joke about this kind of thing. The Wang family supreme elder's face was very stiff. Obviously, he was scared by Wang Fong's words. If Master Potato came to the Wang family with their strength, they wouldn't be able to stop him. This was a real threat. I'm joking now, but I don't know about the future. Wang Fong sneered again and again. Many Wang family elders lowered their heads and no longer dared to be arrogant. They were very sullen, but now that the other party was powerful, they couldn't do anything about it. This news was not only known by the mysterious Heaven sect and Mingyue court, but also quickly spread to every corner of the northern universe. This was because the Yun family was also a very famous family. The Yun family had dominated the northern universe for hundreds of thousands of years and made a name for itself. But now it was destroyed just like that. Even the Yun family's planet was destroyed, which shocked countless people. Devil, this Master Matedo is definitely a peerless devil. This is too exaggerated. He stole someone else's fiancée and even destroyed the Yun family. He is too vicious. The Yun family can be considered to have lost 8 generations of bloodline. They probably didn't even know that they would die because of jealousy. The truth is unpredictable. Before, I heard that the Yun family planned to arrest that Wu Wudi to avenge Yin Tiankong. I didn't expect that in just a few hours, the Yun family would be destroyed. This is the universe. We must be careful. Who would have thought that an inconspicuous person would be a peerless devil? He is a great character that we can't afford to offend. The dignified Yin family was destroyed just like that. It is really terrifying. Although there are still some descendants of the Yun family scattered all over the northern universe, the Yun family's planet has been destroyed. Most of their experts have died. Their future is bleak. That's right. These years, for the benefit of the Yun family, they have done a lot of inhumane things. They slaughtered people at every turn and even killed their entire family. Who knows how many people secretly want to kill them? That's right. Those enemies didn't appear before because the Yun family is rich and powerful. They have many experts. Now almost all of their experts are dead. They can no longer be arrogant. It is estimated that the remaining descendants of the Yun family will be chased by the enemies of the Yun family. I wonder what is the origin of that Master Matedo? To be able to single-handedly kill his way into the Yun clan's planet. This kind of strength is truly frightening. It's really incomparably terrifying. He must be from a sacred sect or the heir of an ancient family. This name is a bit similar to Wu Wudi, who has recently become famous in the universe. I wonder if the two are related, or maybe they're the same person. It's just a similar name. There are many people with similar names in the universe. It is impossible for them to be the same person. According to the intelligence, Wu Wudi is only in the Golden Core realm. It is impossible for him to destroy the Yun family. His strength can't be compared with Master Matedo. That's true. It seems that I have filtered it. Many people in the Northern Universe talked about it. They completely remember the name of Master Matedo, which represents evil. Chapter 1670. Beep beep. At this time, Xiaoping stayed on the stars, and the system's voice sounded in his mind. Congratulations to the host for destroying the Yun family and becoming famous in the Northern Universe. You have obtained 20 hatred crystals. I hope the host can keep up the good work. Xiaoping was overjoyed. Sure enough, after destroying the Yun family, he had obtained a lot of hatred. After all, this was the hatred of the destruction of a family. God knows how many people hated him to the bone. With these 20 hatred crystals, he now had a total of 176 hatred crystals, which could be used to buy a lot of treasures. Moreover, this time, he destroyed the Yun family and destroyed the Yun family's planet, and also seized a lot of treasures from the Yun family. There were countless elixirs and elixirs. After all, this was the accumulation of the Yun family for many years. Even if most of their resources were consumed, the remaining treasures were still amazing. Unfortunately, the minerals, magic treasures, and other things on the Yun family's planet were all devoured by Dumbo and integrated into Gaia, so there was no way to get them. However, this time, Dumbo also obtained a huge evolution, and the benefits she obtained were more than devouring 20 planets before. All of a sudden, Dumbo's strength improved by leaps and bounds, and she had reached the peak of the Thunder Retribution state. It could be said that she was already showing signs of breaking through to the Sage Realm. Once she reached the Sage Realm, Dumbo would undergo earth-shaking changes and become even more unfathomable. Corinne, do you know how to make Dumbo evolve to the Sage Realm? Xiaoping asked. If Dumbo advanced to the Sage Realm, then he had nothing to be afraid of, and he could do whatever he wanted. There is no bottleneck for Gaia to advance to the Sage Realm. They are born to be sage. Corinne thought for a while and said in a deep voice, "If you want her to quickly break through to the Sage Realm, you must devour and consume a lot of resources. The resources devoured are at least hundreds of millions of times more than what she has now. Otherwise, she can only cultivate honestly and quietly for hundreds of millions of years. Maybe she will have a chance to break through to the Sage Realm. This is Gaia's path of evolution, a steady stream." Hearing this, Xiaoping sighed. It seemed that there was no shortcut to let Dumbo advance to the Sage Realm in a short time. Although there was no bottleneck for Dumbo to advance to the Sage Realm, the problem was that the resources consumed were too terrifying. How was that possible? Could it be that he could destroy hundreds of millions of planets similar to the Yin planet? If he could do that, he would probably become the most vicious criminal in the universe. From a certain point of view, the evolution of Gaia planet was also very difficult, but it had a long lifespan, so it could afford it. By the way, Xiaoping, now you have reached the peak of the Gold Core realm, right? Corinne suddenly asked. Indeed, I feel that I will break through to the returning nature realm in a few days' time. After the battle on the Yin Clan star, I have benefited a lot. I can almost condense my Yuan Shun. Xiaoping said in a low voice. His eyes lit up. He believed that he would be able to step into the returning nature realm in a few days and condense his Yuan spirit. Xiaoping, I suggest that before you advance to the returning true realm, you should first enter the virtual universe and enter a middle-tier city. There are absolute treasures you can obtain there. If you advance to the returning true realm, I'm afraid you won't be able to enter an intermediate city anymore. You'll lose this opportunity for no reason. Corinne reminded. Oh, what kind of treasures can I obtain in an intermediate city? Xiaoping asked curiously. He knew that Corinne knew more information than him. There is a tower of trials in an intermediate city. This was left behind by the saints. Its purpose is to assist the human race's geniuses in their cultivation. As long as they have enough talent and strength, they can enter the tower of trials to temper themselves. Corinne said in a deep voice. The Tower of Trials has a total of 5 floors. Every time you pass a floor, you can get a reward from the saints. The higher the floor passed, the more precious the reward. However, the difficulty of each floor of the Tower of Trials is extremely high. More than 90% of the practitioners are unable to pass the first floor. To pass the second floor, only the true geniuses of the human race can pass the third floor. Needless to say, only peerless geniuses, monstrous geniuses of the human race can do it. If it is the 4th floor, monstrous talent alone is not enough. You need to practice top-notch techniques, have a lot of resources behind you, and have an extremely solid foundation. Only peerless monstrous geniuses can pass. As for the 5th floor of the Tower of Trials, it is even more difficult. Those who can pass are basically monstrous geniuses who have left their names in the annals of history. If they don't die, they are bound to become saints in the future. Looking at the countless years of history of the human race, there are not many. Speaking until here, he paused. But once you pass the 5th floor of the Tower of Trials, you can get the peerless treasures left behind by the saints. Sometimes it is not impossible to get a sacred tool. There is such a good thing. Xiaoping's heart palpitated with excitement. This was indeed a big opportunity that he could not miss. But there is one thing you need to pay attention to. Everyone has only 3 chances to enter the Tower of Trials in their lifetime. If you don't have enough confidence, don't rashly go in. However, according to your current strength, even if you enter the Tower of Trials, it will not be a big problem. You have the opportunity to pass the 4th floor. Corinne said in a deep voice. Only then can I pass the 4th floor? Aren't you looking down on me a bit? Xiaoping said. I have already overestimated it as much as possible. No one knows what will happen inside the Tower of Trials. The content of the trial will change at every moment. Some peerless monstrous geniuses may fail miserably in the Tower of Trials. Corinne said in a bad mood. Well, it's a bit interesting. Then, let's go in and take a look. What is the origin of the so-called Tower of Trials? Xiaoping immediately became very curious. No hurry. I have to warn you first. Corinne looked at Xiaoping and said, the middle-level city and the low-level city are completely different worlds. In the middle-level city, there is no so-called newcomer protection. Even in the town, you can kill each other and no one will care. You can even project your magic treasures into the virtual world. Treasures are emerging one after another, and the virtual world has the characteristic of not dying. This makes the middle-level city a killing ground. Therefore, the middle-level city is countless times more dangerous than the low-level city. If you are too arrogant, I'm afraid you will immediately be killed by others. You won't be able to enter the virtual world for several months, and your soul will be damaged. Xiaoping suddenly understood. If the novice village is a place for children, then the low-level city is actually a place for the adults and rookies. There are also various kinds of protection to avoid being killed during the growth period, which would cause mental trauma. However, the middle-level city is different. The cultivators who can enter the middle-level city have at least advanced to the treasure-refining realm. They have already become experts and have a mature temperament. They are no longer rookies. Therefore, if you enter the middle-level city, you will not receive the protection of the virtual universe. After all, a true expert grows up in the flames of war. A greenhouse can't nurture a saint. It is estimated that the virtual universe is the environment that the saints of the human race created for the proud sons of heaven of the human race to grow up. The purpose of everything is to increase the number of saints of the human race. If you don't become a saint, then there is no meaning to the human race. Whoosh. Chapter 1671. Beep. As soon as Xiaoping entered the virtual network, he heard a mechanical voice, detected that the user has reached the Golden Core realm. You can enter a mid-level city in the virtual city. Which city do you want to enter? Suddenly, the names of many cities appeared in his mind. Although the number of mid-level cities was much less than that of low-level cities, there were still more than 1 million of them, which accommodated countless experts in the universe. Corinne, can I casually choose any middle-level city? Xiaoping asked. That's not the case, Corinne said in a deep voice. Although most of the towers of trials in mid-level cities are the same, some are created by sages, and the towers of trials were deliberately left behind by them. Therefore, the difficulty of these towers of trials is far higher than that of other mid-level cities. Of course, if you can pass them, the rewards you get are also incomparable to those of other towers of trials. There's such a thing? Which mid-level cities are more special? Xiaoping asked. Since he wanted to pass the Tower of Trials, of course, he had to choose the Tower of Trials with the highest difficulty and the most rewards. Of course, ordinary cultivators didn't have such ambition. After all, they only had 3 chances to pass the Tower of Trials. If they failed, there would be no more. If they chose the Tower of Trials with the highest difficulty, they would get nothing. Therefore, most cultivators still knew their limits and wouldn't deliberately choose the Tower of Trials with the highest difficulty. Boom! The most famous mid-level cities are Panwu City, Sanshui City, Flame Dragon City, Xuana City, and so on. The Towers of Trials in these cities are also famous for their high difficulty. Who knows how many geniuses have failed in these cities? But once you pass these Towers of Trials, you will immediately get a huge reward, which will attract the attention of countless forces in the universe. Corinne said, and Panwu City's Tower of Trials is the most difficult among all the mid-level cities. Since ancient times, no one has been able to pass the 5th level of the Tower of Trials. At most, they can reach the 4th level. There's such a thing? Why is it so difficult? Xiaoping asked curiously. Because this Tower of Trials is said to contain the inheritance of Saint Panwu, Corinne said in a deep voice. Once you pass the Tower of Trials, it is equivalent to becoming Saint Panwu's disciple. Therefore, it is almost the most difficult. Geniuses of all races have failed in this Tower of Trials. Back in the ancient time, Saint Panwu was an extremely powerful saint. He was famous, and he was immeasurably powerful. However, he died in a battle against deep abyss monsters, and everything he learned was lost. It was rumored that when he fought the abyss demons to the death, he had left all his martial arts in the virtual universe. If he died, his martial arts would not be lost. It would be obtained by a fated person and passed on to the next generation. Because of this, countless powerful cultivators had tried to challenge the Tower of Trials, hoping to inherit Saint Pan Wu's legacy. Sadly, none of them had succeeded. They were all stuck on the 4th floor. Interesting. Let's go to Panwu City and have a look. Xiaoping's heart palpitated. If the Tower of Trials contained the sage's inheritance, then he naturally had to obtain it. Whoosh! With a single thought, his body flickered and the stars shifted. His body instantly appeared in the middle of a huge and majestic city's teleportation formation, surrounded by densely packed figures. This is Panwu City. Xiaoping stood on the teleportation formation and looked around. He found that there were countless powerful cultivators here. Geniuses from all races had appeared. They were at least at the treasure refining stage, and most were golden core cultivators. This Panwu City was extremely large. It was 10 million square kilometers, enough to accommodate 2 billion people. At the same time, he also felt that a mid-level city was different from a low-level city. It seemed to have become more real, blurring the boundary between illusion and reality. One could even absorb cosmic energy in a mid-level city to strengthen one's cultivation and body. In other words, cultivating in a mid-level city was almost the same as cultivating in the real world. The effects of cultivation could also be completely reflected in one's body. Unbelievable. Xiaoping could feel the greatness of this virtual network more and more. It didn't seem like a network, but a virtual world. Apart from not dying, it wasn't much different from the real world. In fact, many cultivators who stayed on planets with harsh environments usually cultivated in the virtual world. This was faster than cultivating in the real world. It could be called a holy land for cultivation. It can even project magic treasures. Xiaoping was very curious. With a thought, he took out some of the top-grade spirit weapons he had obtained. Sabers, swords, halberds, bows, and so on. They were all materialized and filled with the spiritual light of the magic treasures. It was as if they were in the real world. He held these magic treasures and felt that he could activate the power of the formation without any hindrance. It's real. This is really unbelievable. Xiaoping wanted to take out the reincarnation brush, the mountain river pearl, and other magic treasures to try. However, this place was full of people. Once the reincarnation brush and other magic treasures appeared, it would cause too much of a commotion. Therefore, he thought carefully and gave up for now. It wouldn't be too late to test it later. Let's go to the Tower of Trials first. Xiaoping decided to go to the Tower of Trials in Panwu City first. The location of the Tower of Trials was easy to find. It was in the center of Panwu City. A huge white tower stood there, reaching into the clouds. It was densely covered with ancient and mysterious runes, emitting an aura that made people's hearts palpitate. At this moment, many cultivators had gathered around the Tower of Trials. Geniuses from different races had appeared. After all, this Tower of Trials was too famous. Since the beginning of time, no one had ever passed the 5th level. Therefore, many geniuses from different races wanted to challenge it. Once they passed, they would leave their name in history and become famous across the universe. One could imagine how many geniuses were excited by this fame. They wanted to pass the 5th level immediately. Unfortunately, most of the cultivators could not even pass the 1st level. Bang! Just then, the door to the 1st level of the White Tower opened. From inside, a silhouette was thrown out. He fell to the ground, looking very disheveled and dirty. Ah, he failed again. That must be the Starlight Race's Heaven's favorite. I can't believe he couldn't even pass the 1st level. I heard that he was a genius who could pass the 3rd level of the Tower of Trials in other cities. I can't believe he couldn't even pass the 1st level in Panwu City. This is unbelievable. How can other cities be compared to Panwu City? This is a city personally built by a saint. There are countless secrets. The difficulty of the trial is not something other cities can imagine. That's true. What is a Starlight Race's Heaven's favorite? It's not like he is the most talented one. There were geniuses from the 7 Orifices race, the Ice Hell race, and the Dragonbone race who came to challenge the Tower of Trials. I can't believe they only passed the 3rd level and couldn't pass the 4th. No way. Those geniuses all passed the 5th level of the Tower of Trials in other cities. I can't believe they couldn't even pass the 4th level in Panwu City. Everyone discussed. They had a new understanding of the difficulty of Panwu City's Tower of Trials. Chapter 1672. Hearing these words, although the surrounding people didn't look down on him and felt that failure was inevitable, that genius from the Starlight Race was extremely embarrassed. Because earlier, he was still bragging to his friend that he could pass the 2nd level. Who would have thought that he would be defeated on the 1st level? He left dejectedly and didn't dare to stay any longer. Many geniuses nearby also knew their own limits. After seeing the miserable state of that genius from the Starlight Race, they decided to give up on the challenge. It was foolish to fight a battle that they had no chance of winning. Seems like no one dares to challenge today. At least they know their limits. After all, they only have 3 chances. It would be extremely foolish to waste them here. If they can't even pass the 1st level, I'm afraid they won't be able to obtain any treasures. That's true. They might be able to obtain some treasures by going to other towers. But coming to Panwu City is purely a waste of their chances. Anyone with some brains would know how to choose. Even some monstrous martial arts geniuses would only dare to go to other towers and pass the 5th level. Only then would they come to Panwu City to try their luck. No one would be foolish enough to waste their chances in a place like this. I think no one can pass this tower. This is a place set up by the sage to warn us that there's always someone better out there. We shouldn't be arrogant. Indeed, this might be a profound meaning left behind by the sage. Everyone, let's go. There's nothing interesting to watch today. Many people discussed and sighed. They all felt that this Panwu City's tower was too difficult. But after so many years, they had already gotten used to it. Failure was the norm. If they succeeded, it would be a piece of world-shaking news that could shake the entire universe. Look, someone is planning to challenge it again. Suddenly, someone saw a young man approaching the White Tower. Who was that guy? He still dares to challenge after seeing the miserable state of that genius from the Starlight Race? How gutsy. Or is he very confident? Someone asked curiously. I don't know. I've never seen this kid before. I should remember all the famous geniuses from different races. That's normal. The universe is too big. It's normal to have unknown geniuses. Everyone looked curiously at this young man approaching the White Tower. This person was none other than Xiaoping. Seeing that no one was entering the tower, he didn't need to queue up and went over alone. Beep. As he approached, a robotic voice came from the trial tower. May I know your name? Do you want to enter the Panwu trial tower? Do you need to use one trial opportunity? Wu Wudi confirmed entry. Xiaoping said his fake name. All right, trial taker Wu Wudi. This is your first time entering the Tower of Trials. You comply with the rules and are allowed to enter. With a boom, the White Tower suddenly emitted a white light that enveloped Xiaoping's body. In the next second, Xiaoping disappeared and entered the White Trial Tower. But at that moment, the surrounding people were in an uproar. They had heard that the trial taker's name was Wu Wudi. This name was very familiar to them, especially to the living beings from the Western cosmos. After all, Wu Wudi had recently become a super wanted criminal in the Western cosmos, with a bounty of 10 billion universe dollars on his head. Countless radio and television stations were broadcasting news about Wu Wudi day and night, putting him on the wanted list. Almost everyone knew about him. No way, Wu Wudi. Could it be the legendary fugitive Wu Wudi? Someone exclaimed. It's very likely. If it's that super wanted criminal Wu Wudi from the Western cosmos, then it's normal for him to dare enter the Panwu City Trial Tower. After all, it's said that with his golden core body, he once killed pure returning realm cultivators like killing chickens. He's extremely fierce. Not only did he kill people like flies in the Western cosmos, but he also destroyed 20 planets with life in the Southern cosmos. Trillions of people died or went missing. He's vicious and cruel. He's a super devil. The Wandu clan already sees him as an enemy. They can't wait to capture this kid and skin him alive. Speaking of his famous deeds, we have to start from the Eastern cosmos. In the beginning, he was just a scammer who only cheated money and women in the virtual network. I didn't expect him to become a super wanted criminal with a bounty of tens of billions. He disappeared for a few months. I thought he'd been captured long ago. I didn't expect him to still be free and unfettered. He even dared to appear in the virtual world. He's really bold. Quite a few people discussed spiritedly, talking about Xia Ping's achievements. Every single thing he did was world-shaking, and even a peerless demon was nothing more than this. Children stopped crying. Even the 10,000 Poison Clan, a demonic sect, hated him to the bone. One could imagine how cruel Wu Wuti was. Quick, inform the elders of our clan. Wu Wuti has appeared in Panwu City and is participating in the trial tower. Someone immediately went to inform the elders of the major clans in the Western Cosmos so that everyone knew Wu Wuti's whereabouts. What's the point of notifying him? This is the virtual network. He can't be killed at all. Moreover, intermediate cities can only accommodate golden core cultivators. Cultivators above the returning realm can't enter at all. That bastard Wu Wuti is probably relying on this to be so unscrupulous. He's not afraid of exposing his whereabouts at all. There are also people who gritted their teeth. What a joke. The elders have endless means. Even if they can't kill him, can't they trap him? Someone sneered. As long as we trap him in a virtual network and find a way to find his location in the real world, he won't be able to escape. It wasn't easy for him to appear again. If we miss this opportunity, who knows how long we'll have to wait. We have to capture him as soon as possible and eliminate him. Yes, many living beings of the Western Cosmos immediately took action. They quickly used their communicators to inform the elders of the major clans of the Western Cosmos to mobilize their troops and gather in Panwu City. Good kid, Wu Wuti has finally appeared. This time, you won't be able to escape even if you grow wings. There was a 10,000 Poison Clan disciple in the crowd. He was ecstatic. Reporting news of Wu Wuti would mean receiving a huge reward from a sect. He could not wait and immediately informed the sect elders. Looks like Wu Wuti is unlucky. Not necessarily. That kid is said to be invincible in the Golden Core realm. He can even kill a returning realm cultivator. How can he be so easy to deal with? Haven't you heard of the saying that ants can kill an elephant? What a fool. If one can't kill him, then 10, 100, 1,000, 100,000, or 1,000,000 of them can kill him. That's right. Wu Wuti is a super wanted criminal. There are countless people who want to kill him. If they gang up on him, no matter how powerful that kid is, he won't be able to escape. There's going to be a good show later. Serves him right. This is the fate of a peerless demon. Many people were gloating. They planned to watch a good show. They also informed many friends and family to come. Chapter 1673. Panwu Trial Tower. At this moment, Xia Ping entered. He had no idea what was going on in the outside world. Is this the training space? He looked around and realized that he was in a strange space. Everything around him was white and boundless. He couldn't see the borders of the space at all. The trial begins. At this moment, a mechanical voice rang out. Boom! Before Xia Ping could react, a series of terrifying sound waves rang out in the space. It was like a tsunami, wave after wave, stacking on top of each other. There was even a terrifying mental attack that could attack the soul of a living being directly, ignoring the defenses of the body. Moreover, the mental power was so condensed that it was visible to the naked eye. It was like a ripple that shook the space. Even the ground cracked from the impact. It was extremely terrifying. What a powerful divine sense. Xiaoping's eyes flashed coldly. He stood where he was and circulated his qigong. He was like a reef. No matter how strong the waves were, he didn't move at all. It was as though he had existed since ancient times. All of the mental attacks bombarded his soul, but they were easily blocked by the world tree. The world tree gently waved its branches, shattering all of the mental attacks. It stood in the depths of his soul like a towering tree that was rooted in the ground. No matter how violent the storm was, it was still unscathed. However, even though he looked calm now, as though nothing had happened, the truth was that ordinary golden core perfected ones would be knocked unconscious and eliminated from the mental assault. If it was serious, they would be shocked to death and their souls would be destroyed. Even some geniuses who didn't have strong enough soul power could only last for a few breaths. They would soon be knocked unconscious and foaming at the mouth. That was what happened to the genius from the Starlight Race. He didn't know what happened at all. He was eliminated in just a breath's time. Therefore, he was extremely embarrassed. This was the content of the first level of the Panwu Trial Tower, Mental Attack. Even though it was simple, it could eliminate 99% of the cultivators. Those who couldn't block, it would be eliminated. It was simple and straightforward. Soon, 3 minutes passed. Xiaoping was still standing where he was. The mental attacks were getting stronger and stronger. Wave after wave, they stacked on top of each other. They were more than 10 times stronger than when they first appeared. However, they still couldn't do anything to him. Nice massage. Xiaoping stood with his hands clasped behind his back. These sound waves weren't completely useless against him. It was as if a brilliant weaponsmith was using a giant black hammer to strike his soul, helping him refine the impurities in his soul. This also allowed his spiritual force to be purified and his soul energy to become pure. This practice also made his spiritual sense a little stronger than before. With a beep, the voice appeared again. 3 minutes have passed. Congratulations to Wu Wudi for passing the first level of the Panwu Trial Tower. You now have 4 hours to rest, or you can choose to start the next round of the trial. Let's start the second trial, Xiaoping said. Just now, it was just a warm-up exercise, so he didn't sweat at all. Naturally, he didn't need a rest here for 4 hours, so he directly announced the start of the second level. As you wish. Trial taker, I will now begin the second stage of the trial. The voice spoke again. Xiaoping was teleported to the second floor of the Tower of Trials. At this time, a large number of people had gathered outside the Panwu Trial Tower, surrounding it tightly. These were all elites who had rushed over after receiving the news. There were people from the West Universe, the East Universe, the North Universe, and the South Universe. Whether they were here to watch the show or for revenge, they were all here to kill Xiaoping. Where's Wu Wudi? Where's that *TCH Wu Wudi? Get him out here immediately. I want to kill him immediately. A 10,000 Poison clan disciple shouted. He had received the news and rushed over without stopping, just to capture Wu Wudi as soon as possible. Many 10,000 Poison clan disciples were aggressive and murderous. They came in groups. Scram. Wu Wudi's head belongs to the Angel clan. 10,000 Poison clan scram. The 10,000 Poison clan wants to kill Wu Wudi. Even if you line up, it won't be your turn. Wu Wudi will be killed by the Elephant clan. He killed our elder, so he must die. No one can stop him. All of you scram. Wu Wudi once caused our Black Heaven sect to suffer heavy losses and missed a great opportunity. This enmity is irreconcilable. That brat's life belongs to our Black Heaven sect. One by one, the experts attacked, releasing a terrifying aura. They were at each other's throats, staring at each other fiercely. They were all extremely domineering, showing that they wanted to kill Wu Wudi alone, and no one else was allowed to touch him. These people were only the vanguard. Only tens of thousands of people had come, and countless experts would quickly arrive later. According to preliminary estimates, there were at least 1 million people coming. When they thought of the dense crowd arriving, many onlookers trembled. They did not expect that Wu Wudi alone would provoke so many forces and offend so many people. It seemed that it would be difficult for him to die, even if he wanted to. Some people were speechless. He clearly knew that he had caused so much trouble and offended so many people, but now he still dared to come out. He was really tired of living. Stop fighting. Wu Wudi has entered the Tower of Trials. He won't be coming out anytime soon, someone shouted. Not coming out anytime soon? You think too highly of that *TCH. You think too highly of that *TCH. This is Panwu's trial. I think he won't even be able to pass the first level. He'll be sent flying. If that's the case, then we can directly capture that kid. Many people laughed out loud. Look, Wu Wudi passed the first level of the trial. However, before they could finish laughing, someone exclaimed. They saw that the second level of the Tower of Trials had lit up. This meant that the participant inside had passed the first level of the Tower of Trials. What? The genius from the Starlight Race had an ugly expression. He knew how difficult the first level of the Tower of Trials was. He was knocked unconscious the moment he entered, and he did not even know how he failed. However, Wu Wuti was so powerful that he easily passed the first level of the trial. That's impossible. He passed so quickly. In any case, that kid is a universe-level fugitive. He's quite capable. Humph. The second level is more than several times more difficult than the first. He'll be kicked out soon. Wait and see. It's impossible for him to pass the second level. To be honest, if he can pass the second level, I can kiss a donkey's butt. Everyone laughed coldly. They all thought that Wu Wuti passing the second level of the Tower of Trials was already his limit. They rubbed their fists and waited for Xia Ping to be kicked out of the Tower of Trials. They were wary of each other, lest other forces succeed. Chapter 1674. The second floor of the Tower of Trials. Xia Ping discovered that he had appeared at the top of a huge mountain. He was surrounded by hundreds of thousands of huge mountains that stretched as far as the eye could see. Everything was lush and verdant. However, there was no vitality on this mountain range. It was full of a deathly, silent aura, like a dangerous place. In an instant, a voice sounded. The second floor of the trial begins. Boom! Immediately, a huge, ancient sword formation appeared in the sky. The patterns were branded in the void, as if they were condensed by sword chi. They were incomparably sharp and could cut the void. Before Xia Ping could figure out what was happening, the ancient sword formation immediately activated, absorbing the Gungjin Chi in the depths of the void, quickly condensing into sword chi one after another. These sword chi condensed into a substance, as if they contained the will of a sword Dao grandmaster. They were pale gold, and there were thousands of them, covering an area, buzzing and boiling with killing intent. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sword chi seemed to have a life of its own as it fell from the sky and bombarded Xia Ping like raindrops. This was simply an army of thousands of men and horses killing, ambushing from all sides, and there was no way to escape. Even these sword chi were extremely terrifying, as if a sword Dao grandmaster was charging over with a long sword in hand, forming a peerless sword formation. Thousands of swords merged into one, erupting with a terrifying sharpness. Under such a sword formation, ordinary golden elixir realm cultivators would be crushed into powder in an instant. Dark North Body Protection Technique Absorb. Xia Ping instantly activated the Dark North Body Protection Technique. Layers of blue energy shields surging out of his body, condensing into a crystal wall, like the pattern of an ancient tortoise shell, on which countless Kuan Peng runes appeared. With his body as the center, an absolute aura formed within a radius of hundreds of meters. Layers of blue energy shields continued to stack up, at least 360 layers. It was as if a vast sea had appeared beside him, and Kuan Peng runes appeared in the sea, like Kuan Peng roaming the sea of stars. Bang, bang, bang. Above the sky, thousands of sword chi bombarded down like raindrops, or like a missile bombardment, erupting with terrifying power. Even a piece of land would be bombarded beyond recognition. However, when these sword chi bombarded the energy shield, it was instantly blocked, like a stone entering the sea, being devoured and absorbed silently. No matter how sharp these sword chi were, they could not break through the energy shield at all. Nice massage. Xia Ping smiled slightly. These sword chi bombarded his body. He felt his Dark North Body Protection Technique automatically circulate, producing waves of strange vibrations, transforming into strange energy, tempering his body. He felt that his physique and soul seemed to be more harmonious, as though he had reached the realm of soul and soul as one. The magic power in his body was also rising steadily, reaching the perfected golden core realm. At this moment, he seemed to have touched the bottleneck of the returning true realm. Sensing this situation, not only did the trial taker not receive any damage, but his cultivation base had also increased by leaps and bounds. This was a great humiliation, as if the trial tower was enraged. Instantly, the entire tower of trials shook. One after another, sword formations appeared in all four directions. They covered the sky and covered the earth, encompassing everything in the universe and shaking the universe. Suddenly, figures walked out of these sword formations one after another. They were all wearing white robes and holding 3-foot-long swords in their hands. They seemed to be sword masters from ancient times. They were expressionless and attacked Xiaoping, displaying infinite sword chi. Some were soft, some were violent, some were upright, some were evil, some were cold, and some were flame. These sword chi almost included countless types of sword chi in the world, and the moves were exquisite and contained infinite killing intent. They bombarded from various angles, looking for his weakness, trying to completely shatter his body protection technique. Stupid, this is useless. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a cold light, and he operated the dark north body protection technique. The Kuan Peng rune in his body seemed to be alive, with its own spiritual consciousness. The entire air shield shone brightly, and 1,000 miles around turned into an ocean. Dark North Body Protection Technique, Recoil. When these sword chi slammed down, they were instantly swallowed by this ocean, but they did not disappear. The depths of the ocean were like springs. The more oppressive it was, the more terrifying the rebound power was. Boom! In just an instant, the entire ocean trembled, and countless absorbed sword chi flew back to the original place. And even the recoil was several times faster and more powerful than before. This was like rebounding all the power back, doubling it, giving him a taste of his own medicine. Dong! With just one blow, the 4 ancient sword formations in the sky were bombarded by the infinite sword chi. In a few breaths, the ancient sword formations were beaten into a beehive, collapsing inch by inch. At this moment, the entire sky turned clear, and the smoke dissipated. It was as if the storm had passed, and peace returned. This peace lasted for a full minute. It seemed that even the trial tower did not expect that someone would not only be able to withstand the sword chi, but even shatter the 4 ancient sword formations and completely collapse them. With a beep, a voice said, "Trial taker Wu Wudi forcibly destroyed the ancient sword formations. Evaluation, outstanding battle record. Past the 2nd level of the Tower of Trials." Whoosh! In the next second, Xiaoping was teleported to the 3rd level of the Tower of Trials by a force. It seemed that he was not given time to rest at all. This seemed to be the punishment for destroying the 2nd level of the Tower of Trials. He looked around, as if he had appeared in an endless grassland, full of weeds that were half the height of a person. They were lush, like a green ocean, containing endless vitality. The 3rd level of the trial begins. The mechanical voice was heard. As soon as the voice finished speaking, the grassland world underwent an earth-shattering change. There was a roar in the distance, and the ground trembled as if there was a super earthquake with a magnitude of more than 10. Beast Tide. Xiaoping used his divine senses to sense the surroundings, and he was shocked to find that at the end of the grassland, terrifying beasts, ferocious beasts, and demonic beasts had appeared. Each of them was as strong as a small mountain. There are too many of these ferocious beasts covering the sky and earth. At a glance, it seemed that even the grassland was filled with them. There were at least 1 million of them, and there was even an endless stream of ferocious beasts attacking, sweeping up dust into the air. They sensed the existence of Xiaoping and seemed to have gone crazy, pouncing over to kill him. Good timing. Xiaoping was not afraid, and he immediately activated the Golden Crow of Hell Body. Facing such a terrifying beast tide, it was impossible for him to hold back. Dark golden flames appeared all over his body. At this moment, dense Golden Crow of Hell runes appeared on his skin, as if they had transformed into golden crows of hell, swimming around his body. With his body as the center, the radius of 1,000 miles turned into a sea of fire, as if it had become purgatory. Whoosh! Chapter 1675. 6 hours. 6 hours had passed in the 3rd level of the trial. Xiaoping stood there, panting and sweating profusely. He had used up a lot of energy. With his body as the center, the area within a radius of tens of thousands of kilometers had turned into a sea of purgatory fire. The ground had cracked, forming ravines. Hot lava flowed on the surface, constantly bubbling. Everything around him had changed. It was originally a plain, but the battle had been too intense. The surrounding soil had been thrown into the air, forming mountains that were thousands of meters tall. Even in this land, there were many dead beasts. At least 50 million of them had died. Large amounts of blood flowed on the ground, filling the air with a strong smell of blood. At this time, not a single beast could come near him again. They were either torn apart, burned alive by the flames, turned into charcoal, or even turned into ashes. But Xiaoping was still extremely energetic. His eyes were shining. He felt that he had never felt so good before. Although this was a trial, it was also a chance for him to hone himself. Originally, his speed of improvement was too fast, causing a trace of disharmony between his soul and body. It had not reached a perfect state, which caused a slight flaw in his advancement to the restoration realm. But after this battle, he felt that his soul and body had completely merged. There was an aura of water and earth merging, yin and yang merging, and the universe becoming one. This was a sign that his soul and body had merged. Vaguely, the primordial spirit in the depths of his golden core was about to mature. It could break out of its shell at any time. The outer shell of the golden core was also densely packed with cracks. Congratulations, Trial Taker Wu Wudi. You have passed the 3rd level of the Tower of Trials. You have 2 hours to rest before proceeding to the 4th level. At this time, the voice of the Tower of Trials was heard again, ending this time's trial. Whoosh! Xiaoping sat cross-legged on the ground, using his qigong to recover. He also found that his recovery speed in the Tower of Trials was more than 100 times faster than in other places. In just 2 hours, he had recovered to his peak state. Whoosh! Without waiting for him to say anything, he was once again transported to the 4th level. Trial Taker Wu Wudi has arrived at the 4th level. You have 10 breaths to prepare. At this time, the voice was heard. What is this place? Xiaoping looked around. He discovered that he had arrived in a dark world. The surroundings were barren, and the surroundings were filled with the terrifying aura of darkness and demons. He suddenly recalled. Abyss. This was the aura of the abyss. Obviously, he had been teleported to an abyss world, and the surrounding aura was extremely real. Even though he knew that this was an illusory world, he could not sense what was wrong. Familiar abyssal demons also appeared in the distant abyss. Bright sun demons, oxhorn demons, goat-horn demons, venomous demons, 6-armed lion demons, and so on. These abyssal demons were extremely terrifying. They were at least at the Transcendence realm, and most of them were at the Lightning Tribulation realm. Moreover, these abyssal demons were just small fries. They were all cannon fodder. In the sky above the abyss world, many demon saints appeared. They were like abysses as vast as the sun, unfathomably deep. It was as if a wisp of their aura could shatter the land and destroy the stars. This was an undefeatable existence. This is a spirit creature battlefield in the deepest part of Saint Pan Wu's memory. Cultivators, please survive in this battlefield for 2 hours. The voice came, explaining the content of this trial. What? Survive for 2 hours? Xiaoping was speechless. In such a harsh battlefield, he was only a golden core cultivator. It would be extremely difficult for him to survive for 10 minutes, let alone 2 hours. If he was careless, he would be targeted by a demon saint, and he would be turned into ashes with a single breath. No wonder even monstrous geniuses could not pass the 4th level of the Tower of Trials. It was almost impossible to pass such a difficult trial. Not only did it require strength, but also a bit of luck. But obviously, this was not the time for him to bargain. In the distance, the abyssal demons seemed to sense Xiaoping's aura. Their eyes shone brightly, and they chased after him. True solution of illusion. At this moment, Xiaoping suddenly remembered his mental secret art. True solution of illusion. One thought, one world. Rumble immediately, with his body as the center, the environment within 1,000 miles distorted, turning into an illusory world. It merged with the surrounding abyssal aura and changed the environment. Xiaoping also created a rock and hid in the surroundings. The abyssal demons roared. They suddenly realized that the human had disappeared. No matter how they looked, they could not find any trace of him. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. They were very unwilling to give up and continued to search around. But their soul power was not strong enough, and their five senses were blinded. They could not find Xia Ping in a short time. At this time, the news of Xia Ping stepping into the fourth level of the Tower of Trials shocked the living beings outside. They were all dumbfounded. You must be joking. That despicable Wu Wudi actually stepped into the fourth level of the Tower of Trials? That's impossible. This is a level that only monstrous geniuses can enter. Can that Wu Wudi do it? A 10,000 Poison Clan disciple could not believe this scene. He had also entered the Panwu Tower of Trials before, and naturally knew the difficulty of this Tower of Trials. Without sufficient talent and strength, one could not even pass the first level. Not to mention that he had stepped into the fourth level of the Tower of Trials. This was already at the level of a monstrous genius. Even among the many personal disciples of the 10,000 Poison Clan, there were only a few who could compare to Wu Wudi. If he could pass the fourth level, then none of the disciples of the 10,000 Poison Clan could compare to him. Dangerous. This Wu Wudi is really too dangerous. Although he is a wanted criminal, I have to say that he is also an unparalleled genius. He still has that dangerous thing on him. If we don't care about it, it will definitely become a huge problem in the future. It will be uncontrollable. We have to find a chance to eliminate this kid and get rid of future troubles. Many of the geniuses of the Western cosmos had solemn expressions. They knew how dangerous Wu Wudi was. Just the fact that he had tamed a universal dangerous creature like the zombie beast was enough to raise his threat level to a shocking level. Now that he had displayed his unparalleled talent and stepped into the fourth level of the Panwu Tower of Trials, he would definitely become a mighty figure in the future. It was even possible that he would become a sage. If they did not restrict this kid's growth, he would probably really become a peerless demon in the future. He would be the kind that would cause trouble in the universe. Chapter 1676. The fourth level of the Tower of Trials. Xia Ping used the power of the understanding of illusions to hide in the abyss battlefield for 2 hours. Although he was discovered along the way, he managed to escape unscathed. With a beep, the Tower of Trials announced, "Past the fourth level of the Tower of Trials. Trial taker Wu Wudi has passed. You are allowed to enter the fifth level of the Tower of Trials." I finally passed. Xia Ping took a deep breath. At this moment, the illusion of the abyss world around him shattered like glass, and he instantly appeared in an ordinary dojo. He saw that it was an ordinary dojo. There was not a single soul in sight, and there were all kinds of weapons placed all around. Is this the fifth level of the Tower of Trials? What kind of trial is there? Xia Ping was very curious. The first 4 levels of the Tower of Trials were extremely difficult, and the elements of the trial were different. The first level of the Tower of Trials tested the soul. If the soul was not strong enough, one would be instantly defeated. The second level of the Tower of Trials tested the defense. If one's defense was not strong enough, one would be pierced by the sword chi and die. The third level of the Tower of Trials tested the magical power. Endless waves of beasts surged in, and each beast was extremely strong. Although they did not exceed the strength of the trial taker, the problem was that there were too many of them. If the trial taker's magical power was not strong enough, even if he could survive for a period of time, he would be trampled to death by the endless waves of beasts and become their fertilizer. The fourth level of the Tower of Trials tested survival. Just having strong power was not enough. One also needed wisdom and a little bit of luck. Even if one was strong and had monstrous talent, if he could not survive and grow to a certain height, it would be useless. Many peerless geniuses failed at this level. But what would the fifth level of the Tower of Trials be about? At this moment, Xia Ping was very curious. He looked around at the dojo and waited for the trial to begin. Boom! At this moment, a beam of energy descended from the void and quickly condensed into a person. This person was tall and sturdy. He was 2 meters tall and was an old man with 8 abdominal muscles. He was wearing loose white training clothes. The most eye-catching thing about him was his white beard, which was like a dragon's beard. He looked like the fierce General Huangzhong in ancient times. He stood there with his hands clasped behind his back, yet he exuded a scholarly aura. It was as if he was an unfathomable ocean, or as if he was an immortal from Penglai, lofty and aloof, floating in the mortal world. But his eyes were incomparably sharp, like those of a high and mighty god. It was as if a huge hand was crushing down like a mountain, capable of crushing a planet in an instant. His gaze pierced through the void, causing people to tremble. This bearded old man could be considered one of the strongest experts that Xia Ping had ever seen. The only one who could compare to him was probably his master, Dark North Saint, who was equally unfathomable and unfathomable. The ferocious beasts, savage beasts, and abyssal demons that he had encountered previously could not be compared to this old man at all. They were simply not on the same level. "I am Saint Pan Wu," the bearded old man said, "but I'm not the real Saint Pan Wu. I'm only a projection that Saint Pan Wu left in the Tower of Trial. I'm responsible for the 5th level. As long as you can defeat me, you'll be able to obtain the treasures that Saint Pan Wu left in the Tower of Trial. Of course, even if you fail now, you'll still get the treasures, but they won't be as precious. Of course, I'll lower my cultivation to the same level as you, peak Golden Core stage. I won't bully you. Let's cut to the chase. Let the trial begin." As soon as he finished, Saint Pan Wu's projection moved. He didn't use any movement skill. He didn't jump, nor did he fly. He merely took a step forward and suppressed Ji Hao with his aura. He punched out, as if a mountain was crushing down, and the space exploded. Dong! 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 Xia Ping was startled. His hair stood on end. Immediately, he saw over 10,000 tangible fists, which emitted a yellow light and crushed towards him with an overwhelming force. They weren't fists, but numerous yellow mountains. They were covered in earth spell symbols, and they gave off a heavy, destructive, and powerful aura. Mountains came crashing down one after another, sealing off all the gaps. There was no escape in the sky or on the ground. This was a righteous, powerful, and oppressive punch. Martial art skill, Mountain Crush, Dark North Protection Art. Instantly, Xiaoping activated his defensive skill. With his body as the center, a blue ocean was formed. Countless Kuan Peng spell symbols swam, giving off an all-devouring aura. Just now, with this skill, he easily destroyed the endless sword energies on the 2nd level of the Tower of Trial. However, when these fists came crashing down, it was completely different. Mountains came crashing down, and in an instant, it seemed as if the azure sea was completely filled up and razed to the ground. Those fists contained the will to suppress, seal, and destroy. They directly penetrated his energy shield, seeped into his soul, and went deep into his purple palace. The power of these fists was so terrifying that it was hard to breathe. Especially the pressure on one's spiritual will, weaker living beings would be terrified and lose the ability to fight. Boom! With just one strike, Xiaoping's entire body was blasted away. He flew for dozens of kilometers and brushed across the ground. Even though the Dark North Protection art weakened 90% of the fist power, he still coughed up blood. His lungs were injured, and even his bones were slightly cracked. However, with his strong recovery ability, these injuries disappeared within the span of a few breaths, and he was back to his peak state. How can he have such great power? Xiaoping was shocked. He thought that he was far more powerful than ordinary people at the Golden Core stage, and even descendants of legendary beasts couldn't compare to him. However, this St. Panwu's power was no weaker than his. This was unbelievable. Back in the ancient times, St. Panwu was known as an invincible saint. His power was earth-shattering, far greater than other saints at the same level. He was said to have the power of Pangu. Even some legendary beasts couldn't compare to him. It's said that he cultivated a powerful and mysterious cultivation method, which allowed him to have endless power. Only a few living beings can compare to him. Corinne introduced some information about St. Panwu. Really? No wonder his power is so strong. It's almost overflowing. Xiaoping could sense that every inch of the bearded old man's muscles contained a terrifying amount of transcendence energy. It was as if every cell in his body had formed a Dantian's Qi Si. The surrounding void seemed to be unable to withstand the pressure of transcendence energy and kept distorting. Chapter 1677. Not bad. St. Pan Wu's projection looked at Xia Ping in appreciation. You took a punch from me and didn't die, not even get injured. You're the first one in history. I will try my best. Don't die. Once he finished, he attacked immediately, as if he didn't plan to give Xia Ping a chance to rest. He performed the first move of Panwu Divine Fist. Open. Boom! This punch was earth-shattering. Mountains and rivers turned upside down, and stars moved. It seemed to create a new universe. The chaos collapsed, creating a terrifying swirl. It was like the Big Bang of the universe. From then on, stars would be born in the universe, and billions of species would be born. This punch contained the power of an exploding black hole. Even molecules would be turned into nothingness. The power of this punch was boundless. It contained boundless destruction, but at the same time, it also gave birth to boundless vitality. The two powers fused together, like the fusion of yin and yang, the fusion of the universe. So powerful, Xia Ping felt like an ant in the vacuum of the universe. Around him, stars exploded one after another, and the power released was enough to kill him hundreds of times. How could a human be compared to nature? However, he knew that this was only an illusion because of the shock from the opponent's fist intent. After all, the opponent was only using golden core stage power, which couldn't cause such a destructive power. Stimulated, the golden crow hell bloodline boiled inside his body like an inextinguishable fire. The terrifying golden crow hell fire rose from the depths of his mind, instantly burning these illusions and dispelling the fear. His heart was beating like a star, instilling boundless flame energy into his limbs and bones. His meridians were filled with endless courage, and he was fearless. Yin and Yang monument breaking palm. Xia Ping activated his martial power and locked his hands together, forming a yin and yang seal. He slapped in the air, and the yin and yang merged into one, forming a giant black and white millstone. This palm seemed to grab the entire universe. It was going to smash the universe to the ground. Dong! 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 In the blink of an eye, the two forces collided. It was as if two universes were colliding. Countless stars shattered, and a terrifying destructive force swept out in all directions. In merely an instant, the dojo was razed to the ground and transformed into nothingness. Both Xiaoping and St. Pan Wu's projection were pushed back for over 100 miles, their blood boiling inside their bodies. However, St. Pan Wu's projection didn't stop. He rushed up again and launched the second move of the Panwu Divine Fist Art, Epic. With this punch, the entire world underwent a huge change. A majestic picture scroll was blasted out. This picture scroll was all-encompassing, showing the birth of stars, growth, prosperity, and destruction of stars. Many historical figures also appeared, whether they were saints, heroes, or emperors. Every single one of them represented the direction of history, displaying a magnificent history that was filled with endless waves. It faintly exuded an ancient, vast, and chaotic aura. It was as if in this vast epic, all living beings were insignificant and not worth mentioning. If an ordinary cultivator were to come into contact with this epic painting, they would instantly lose their minds and be immersed in the endless epic painting. They would be baptized by time and would be unable to extricate themselves. Xiaoping had the same feeling. This punch was so terrifying that it seemed to drag his soul into the epic painting. He had become a legendary figure, and his blood boiled as he fought against his enemies and reached the peak. However, deep in his head, the world tree stabilized his soul and mind. No matter how the power of time and epic struck him, it couldn't take away his will. Die! Xiaoping activated the Chaos Thunder Art. Terrifying thunder power surged out of his body. Every meridian in his body was flowing with thunder power, crackling as if a thunder god had descended. Martial art, lightning fist. He clenched his fists and activated the thunder god power inside him, charging at the epic painting. Tens of thousands of lightning bolts descended, releasing a destructive power, trying to destroy all historical figures. Bang, bang, bang. It was as if they were being judged. All of the epic-level characters were guilty, and they were being judged by the Thunder God. 5 bolts of lightning would strike them, and the epic-level scroll would be torn to shreds. Not bad. St. Panwu's eyes shone brightly, as if he didn't think that Xiaoping could take the second move of his Panwu Divine Fist. But at this moment, his power had almost reached the peak. He had been preparing for this for such a long time, just to perform the third move of the Panwu Divine Fist, Doomsday. This punch contained a terrifying power. It could destroy everything, tear apart the world, and make all the stars fall. The entire universe seemed to explode, and Doomsday arrived. Xiaoping could sense how terrifying this punch was. As the universe collapsed, even stars that had existed for billions of years withered, exploded, and turned into nothingness. Even saints, who were said to be immortal, quickly died. This part of the universe turned into a deathly stillness. Nothing existed anymore. This was Doomsday. Everything turned into nothingness and returned to the world. Even gods fell. Even Xiaoping sensed the sadness and despair in St. Panwu's eyes. It seemed that no matter what he did, he couldn't save the universe from its decline and destruction. Under the influence of such intense emotions, they even had the tendency to hate the world and want to commit suicide. However, when this emotion reached its peak, the Golden Crow bloodline in his body seemed to be stimulated. An inextinguishable fire burst out of his body, tore apart the dark space, and dispelled all these negative emotions. What a terrifying punch, but the collapse of the universe can't kill me. Xiaoping's eyes shone brightly. Dark golden spell symbols sparkled in the depths of his pupils, and a golden crow of hell emerged. His bloodline power burned like lava. Stimulated by St. Panwu, the golden crow cells in his body were awakened at a crazy rate. 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. This brought him endless golden crow energy. Golden crow claw. Dong! He turned his hand into a claw and swung out a dark golden claw. The claw was thickly covered in golden crow spell symbols and hell spell symbols, releasing an ancient, chaotic, and holy power. The enormous claw slammed into the darkness and desolation, like a beam of light tearing through the dark true void, bringing with it boundless hope and life force. Bang! 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 The two powers clashed against each other like stars colliding. The space was shattered, and spheres of energy spread out crazily. Even the ground was shaken to the point that deep holes appeared. Chapter 1678. Rumble on the 5th floor, 2 figures were fighting crazily in midair. Every time they clashed, a terrifying power would erupt, as if a group of stars were falling from the sky. Even a cultivator of the returning nature realm would be torn apart in an instant in this storm and die without a complete corpse. This feels great, Xiaoping roared. His blood boiled. It was rare for him to have a chance to fight against the saint's projection, and the saint was at a lower level than himself. This was like training him. This was a rare opportunity. Not to mention the fact that Saint Pangu wasn't an ordinary saint. He was immeasurably powerful and had countless tricks up his sleeves. He was a terrifying warrior. Under the training of Saint Panwu's projection, his golden crow cells were quickly unsealed. 9 million golden crow cells were awakened, giving him endless energy. The longer he fought, the stronger he became. Chance! Suddenly, Xiaoping's eyes shone brightly. After fighting for such a long time, he finally saw through Saint Panwu's flaws. He was so excited. His body flashed, and he pounced on the saint and punched. This punch was earth-shaking. It contained the power of spiraling, penetrating, and the rhythm of a saint. It landed on Saint Panwu's body. Dong! Saint Panwu's projection collapsed immediately and turned into nothingness. I won. Xiaoping's eyes shone brightly. He had fought against Saint Pan Wu for half a day. Both his spirit and power had been consumed to an astonishing degree. Now, he finally found a flaw and defeated Saint Pan Wu's projection. To be honest, this was a rare, powerful enemy, and he benefited a lot from it. Congratulations to trial taker Wu Wudi for passing the 5th floor of the Tower of Trials. At this moment, the voice of the Tower of Trials could be heard. Boom! Next, an energy beam descended and quickly condensed into Saint Pan Wu's figure. He stood in front of Xiaoping, his eyes shining like stars, immeasurably deep. How many years has it been? Finally, someone can accept my legacy. Saint Pan Wu's projection looked at Xiaoping, pleased. Did you leave any treasures behind? Xiaoping asked curiously. Saint Pan Wu rubbed his white beard and said, I was going to leave all my treasures behind, but in the ancient battle against the deep abyss spirit creatures, I couldn't retreat even a little bit. My true body died, and all my treasures were gone. However, treasures are just worldly possessions. As long as one has enough strength, any treasure can be obtained. That's why this old man left behind the martial arts secret art of his lifetime. This is also a godly secret art that made this old man a success. Once he finished, he waved his hand and a stone tablet fell from the sky. There were many ancient characters carved on the stone slab, and they seemed to contain an ancient scripture that contained unimaginable power and supreme truth. Xiaoping took a closer look. The title of the slate had a few words written on it. Panwu, true scripture. This is what I've learned my entire life. Now, I'll give you all of it. Whatever you achieve in the future will depend on you. Saint Pan Wu's projection smiled. After saying these words, before Xiaoping could say anything, his phantom image instantly dissipated. It was as if his wish had been fulfilled, and so his projection also disappeared. Beep! At this moment, the system's voice sounded. Discovered a god-level martial art, scripture of Pan Wu. Host, would you like to accept the inheritance? 30 hatred crystals? A god-level martial art indeed. Xiaoping nodded. That was reasonable. Saint Pan Wu was so powerful, so he must have obtained a god-level martial art, which was why he was so powerful. It seemed that he had indeed grown stronger in this trial. He was also curious about Saint Pan Wu's secrets. 30 hatred crystals were nothing to him. Except, at this thought, Xiaoping immediately spoke. Boom, the stone tablet immediately lit up, as if it was quickly refined by a mysterious power. It turned into streams of information, which turned into a white light and surged into Xiaoping's brain. Immediately, he sensed that a series of ancient scriptures appeared in his brain, as if an ancient being was chanting. Every sentence represented the true meaning of the great Tao, making his bloodline quiver. I see. An hour later, Xiaoping was enlightened. He finally accepted this inheritance and understood the true meaning of the scripture of Pan Wu. At first, the scripture of Pan Wu wasn't much different from other martial arts, but it was different from the returning truth level onward. It was a technique that became more and more powerful in the later stages. After cultivating this technique and reaching the returning truth level, one could split one's primordial spirit and condense 9 primordial spirits, creating 9 purple spaces that could contain immense magic power. No matter how talented a living being was, they could only have 1 primordial spirit and 1 purple space in their entire lives. Of course, due to talent, cultivation techniques, resources, and so on, the purple spaces and primordial spirits were different in size. Perhaps some races could have 2 or 3 primordial spirits, but that was also related to the constitution of the race. However, the scripture of Pan Wu was different. It had a secret technique that could split primordial spirits. Each primordial spirit was the same as the body, allowing the body to have 9 purple spaces. Just this alone would allow a cultivator who cultivated the Panwu Sutra to have more than 9 times the magic power of an ordinary cultivator. In fact, when the 9 primordial spirits fused with each other and rapidly strengthened, the balance of yin and yang would also cause each primordial spirit to be 10 times stronger than an ordinary cultivator. In this way, Saint Pan Wu was at least 100 times more powerful than an ordinary cultivator at the same level. It was not hard to imagine how terrifying Saint Pan Wu was. He was definitely extraordinary. If one fought a protracted battle against Saint Pan Wu, one wouldn't be able to kill Saint Pan Wu even if one exhausted his enemies to death. However, even though this technique was powerful, it was also extremely difficult to cultivate. It required a lot of talent, especially soul power. If one's soul power wasn't greater than that of most living beings, one wouldn't be able to cultivate this technique, and it would be impossible for one to succeed. Of course, apart from soul power, one's body had to be strong enough as well. Otherwise, if one's soul was too strong, one's body would explode. Both were necessary. Therefore, the content of the Tower of Pan Wu's trial was far more difficult than the other towers. This was because Saint Pan Wu had set it up to find his inheritor. Naturally, it was extraordinary. Since the ancient time, Xiaoping was the only one who could pass Saint Pan Wu's trial. Moreover, it was also unique. Once it was passed, no one else would have a chance to obtain it. I've made a fortune. Xiaoping clenched his fists. With the scripture of Pan Wu, his battle power would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Chapter 1679. Boom! When Xiaoping passed the 5th level of the tower, the entire white tower trembled and a pillar of light shot out, informing the world. The sky was filled with symbols, and it was as if the entire Panwu city was shaking heaven and earth. The people guarding the surroundings also noticed this situation and were dumbfounded. What happened? Why is this happening in the Panwu trial tower? Some people said that they had never encountered such a situation in their many visits to the Panwu Tower. Could it be that Wu Wudi did something outrageous in the Tower of Trials that made the Tower of Trials unhappy with him and want to expel him? Some people speculated maliciously that Wu Wudi was cunning by nature. Even though he came to the Tower of Trials, he still wanted to find a shortcut. In the end, the Tower of Trials was furious and wanted to increase his punishment. Bullsh *T. This means that someone passed the 5th level of the Tower of Trials. They want to tell the world. Some people were trembling. They stared at the white tower as if they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Past the 5th level of the Tower of Trials? It can't be. Did someone finally pass the Panwu Tower? If this is true, it will definitely shock the universe. After so many years, someone finally conquered the Tower of Trials. This means that a sage has a bright future. Moreover, this is the famous Panwu Tower. It's even more valuable. Even a sage might be alarmed. Who is it? Who passed the 5th level of the Panwu Trial Tower? Is there a need to ask? Only one person entered the Panwu Trial Tower, and that's Wu Wudi. At this point, everyone gasped. They were extremely shocked. They couldn't help but imagine that Wu Wudi was the peerless genius who passed the 5th level of the Panwu Tower. They didn't want to believe it, but the truth was right in front of them. They had no choice but to believe it. Impossible. Wu Wudi is just a despicable thief. What ability does he have to pass the 5th level of the Tower of Trials? What a joke, a 10,000 Poison Clan disciple shouted. He felt that it was unrealistic. Yeah, that kid must have used some despicable trick to make the Tower of Trials send such a signal. He might not have passed the 5th level. That's right. That guy loves to play tricks, but he doesn't have much strength. Many geniuses of the Western cosmos did not believe that such a thing would happen. If they admitted it, wouldn't that mean that Wu Wudi was above all of them? How could they be convinced? Shut up, you bunch of idiots. If you don't know anything, then don't come out and embarrass yourself. Hearing this, someone scolded and sneered. This is the Tower of Trials built by the sages. Who can find the flaws? Even if they do, it is because of their strength. Over the years, countless geniuses had ventured out, but none of them had been able to find flaw. Only Wu Wudi had. If that wasn't strength, then what was it? Is it so hard to admit that others are strong? The group of people's faces darkened, and they were speechless. In their hearts, they had to admit that Wu Wudi was powerful. However, Wu Wudi was a super-wanted criminal of the Western cosmos. He had committed heinous crimes. Instead of praising Wu Wudi, they might as well kill them. No, Wu Wudi is too much of a threat. Passing the 5th level of the Panwu Trial Tower is something that countless geniuses in history have not been able to do. Even with the many geniuses from the ancient era, Wu Wudi is still one of the best. Is that why he's so arrogant and calls himself Wu Wudi? We can't underestimate this kid anymore. We have to treat him as a mortal enemy. Otherwise, if he continues to grow, we won't be able to deal with him anymore. Since he passed the 5th level of the Tower of Trials, it means that he will come out soon. When that time comes, we have to capture him and skin him alive to teach him a lesson. I heard that passing the 5th level of the Tower of Trials will result in a huge reward. The Panwu Trial Tower is even more famous. I wonder what reward he got from it. No matter what the reward is, we have to kill him. The reward on him will be ours. Everyone's eyes were filled with murderous intent. They wanted to kill and rob. Even if they couldn't pass the 5th level of the Tower of Trials, they could kill Wu Wudi and obtain the treasure left behind by the Panwu Saint. Thinking of this, many people looked greedy. Now, they didn't just want revenge. They also wanted the mysterious treasure on Wu Wudi. Although they didn't know what it was, the treasure left behind by the Panwu Saint must be extremely precious. The news of Wu Wudi passing the 5th level of the Panwu Trial Tower spread across Panwu City. Then, with Panwu City as the center, the news quickly spread to all corners of the universe. Even the speed of light couldn't be this fast. A few minutes later, Xiaoping finally walked out of the Panwu Trial Tower. He had already digested the secrets of the Panwu Sutra, but he could only cultivate it after he reached the returning truth realm. Therefore, he immediately decided to leave the virtual network and cultivate in seclusion to reach the returning truth realm. However, as soon as he left the Panwu Trial Tower and came to an empty space outside, he immediately realized that the Panwu Trial Tower was surrounded by a dense crowd. There were at least 5 million people. Although some of them were here to watch, most of them were his enemies. They didn't hide their murderous intent at all. They were like a pack of wolves, staring at him covetously. So many people are watching me. Do you all know that I passed the 5th level of the Tower of Trials? Are you all admiring me and want my autograph? Xiaoping touched his chin and looked around. First, let me remind you, autographs are fine, but you have to pay. One autograph costs 1 million universe dollars, and you can also auction it. Many people from the East universe were speechless. This D*MN liar still wanted money, even when he was about to die. He wanted money more than his life. Didn't he know what the situation was? Sign your ass. The first to speak was a personal disciple of the Wandu clan. He cursed, "Wu Wudi, do you know that you're about to die? When you came to the South Universe, you did all kinds of evil and cruel things. You killed the living beings of 20 planets in the South Universe. This hatred is irreconcilable. Today, I'll make you pay with your blood." He looked like he was doing justice on behalf of the heavens. Many disciples of the Wandu clan were also very emotional. It had always been the disciples of the Wandu clan being hunted down, beaten up, and punished on behalf of the heavens. They had never experienced such a righteous experience. It was as if the Wandu clan had become a righteous sect at this moment. Chapter 1680. Isn't the 10,000 Poison House a demonic sect that does all kinds of evil, destroying planets, killing people, and robbing them? Those are your specialties. Why are you blaming me? We should be on the same side. Xiaoping blinked and looked at the 10,000 Poison House disciples. Scram, who's on the same side as you? A 10,000 Poison House disciple shouted. Although our 10,000 Poison House is a demonic sect, we still have a bottom line. We're not like a peerless demon like you, who kills for fun. The most important thing is that the person you killed was someone from our Wandu clan's territory. This kind of hatred can't be washed away even with the water of 3 rivers. You still want to form a relationship with our Wandu clan? It is too late. Many people were shocked. It seemed that Wu Wudi was really a peerless demon. Even the fierce and famous disciples of the 10,000 Poison clan, who were known to be cruel by nature, were ashamed of their inferiority. They called Wu Wudi a demon and killed him as soon as possible. One could imagine how cruel he was. He was definitely not an ordinary demon. Wu Wudi, At this time, a Western Universe elephant race genius jumped out. Do you remember our elephant race, Elder Xiang Wanshu and the others? During the battle in the Dragonwood Secret Realm, you set a trap and broke the seal, causing the peerless demon to come out. Many of our elephant race elders and geniuses died. I'll settle this debt with you today. He glared at Xia Ping, his killing intent almost tangible, and the antelope race's enmity. You humiliated us in every possible way, plucking off all the hair of our geniuses. You humiliated us so much that I wanted nothing more than to skin you alive. Count me in. Our peacock race also sympathizes with the antelope race. We hate this bastard Wu Woody to the skies. Damn Wu Woody, have a taste of our fire bear race's anger today. Let's see how terrifying it is. One by one, the Western Universe geniuses stood out, their eyes spewing fire. They stared at Xia Ping and spoke of their grudges. This was a hatred that would not rest until one of them was dead. Many people from the Eastern Cosmos were dumbfounded when they heard this. They were extremely ashamed and were too embarrassed to jump out now. After all, their experiences weren't that bad. They had just been cheated of their money. It wasn't a big deal. But these people from the Western Cosmos and the Southern Cosmos were different. People from planets died one after another. This Wu Woody had a blood feud with them. Who knew how many people he had killed and how many souls he had killed? Compared to such a conflict, the conflict between them and Xia Ping was simply insignificant. What's the point? Revenge breeds revenge. Buddha also said the same thing. Put down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha. Hatred can't solve any problems. Xia Ping had a compassionate look on his face as he advised this group of people to put down their hatred. Talk your ass. A Luohan elder stood up and cursed. Who told you to pretend to be a member of the Luohan tribe? Do you know how great of a loss the Luohan tribe and the Buddhist sect have suffered because of your foolish actions? You want us to put down our butcher's knife? Put your sister down. Even Buddha is furious now. He can't wait to kill you with his own hands. His eyes were spitting fire, like the fury of Vajra. Because Xia Ping had pretended to be a member of the Luohan tribe and committed many evil deeds, the major races of the Western Cosmos had come to question him and demanded that they hand over Wu Woody. Of course, they could not hand him over, nor could they find Wu Woody. In the end, under pressure, the Luohan tribe had signed the agreement in humiliation. It was unknown how much they had lost. One could imagine the hatred the Luohan tribe had for Xia Ping. They wanted nothing more than to suppress him permanently. If not for this B*****star's appearance, the Luohan tribe would not have suffered such heavy losses. Many people were in an uproar. Even the Luohan tribe, who was known to have the best temper, was angry. They wanted to kill Wu Woody with their own hands and not convert him into a Buddha. This was too exaggerated. Could it be that this guy's demonic nature was so deep that even the Buddhist sect could not convert him? It seems that you haven't reached the end of your 5 desires. Your dharma is not deep enough, and you don't know how to let go. You'd better go back and recite your scriptures. Otherwise, you will definitely fall into the Avicii hell and never be reincarnated. Xia Ping bowed with his hands in front of him like an enlightened monk. Shut up, Wu Woody. Don't pretend to be a Buddhist disciple here. At this time, an elder of the angel tribe also stood up. Let me ask you, our angel tribe elder Oliver and Harley's angels also appeared in the Dragonwood Secret Realm, but they all disappeared. They never left the Dragonwood Secret Realm. Did you do something to them and kill them? When Oliver, Harley, and the other angels disappeared, the angel tribe was shocked. After all, such angel tribe elders were important combat power to them, but now there was no sign of them. They had disappeared without a trace. How could this be? They immediately asked the elites of the other tribes, but no one knew where Oliver and the others had gone. They could not even find a trace of them. Even when the zombie beasts came out, they did not see them. The angel tribe thought about it. There is only one person who could make Oliver and the others disappear without a trace, and that was the super wanted criminal, Wu Woody. Only this kid had the motive and the strength. Oh, Oliver and Harley. I did see them. Under my persuasion, they have already been enlightened and returned to heaven to see God, Xia Ping said. F***CK, to hell with God, isn't that dead? The The group of people was dumbfounded. They could not believe that this kid would say such a thing so casually, and he even dared to kill the Angel Tribe elders and offend the Angel Tribe. Who didn't know that the Angel Tribe was the most narrow-minded? They would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. If they offended them, they would most likely be hunted down by the angels throughout the universe. But thinking about it carefully, this guy was simply in debt. After offending so many people, offending the Angel Tribe wouldn't be a big deal. F***, it really was you, you bastard. Kill him. Kill this human immediately. The group of angels was furious. They did not know how long they had been searching, but they had finally found the murderer who killed Oliver and Harley. Moreover, this murderer was extremely daring. When faced with their questioning, he actually dared to admit to it. This was simply looking down on them. His condescending attitude infuriated them even more. Sigh. Revenge breeds revenge. When will there be an end to it? Why can't we sit down and talk? If everyone can leave now and pretend that nothing has happened, I will be very grateful. Xiaoping blinked his eyes. Talk your ass. There's nothing to talk about. When you're dead, we'll have something to talk about. We'll talk slowly in hell. Wu Wudi, don't even think about escaping today. In order to capture you alive, we have already sent experts to seal off Panwu City. You won't be able to escape even if you grow wings. It's impossible for you to go offline. That's right. Don't think that you can escape just because this is the virtual network. We have the means to permanently trap you in the virtual network, and you won't be able to escape for the rest of your life. Chapter 1681. You've misunderstood. Hearing this, Xiaoping sighed. I'm not worried that I can't escape, but I'm worried that you'll die here today. Why do you have to come here to die? He put on a compassionate look, but these words infuriated everyone present. Arrogant, too arrogant. And you said we're here to die. Wu Wudi, even if you pass the 5th level of the Tower of Trials, you don't have the right to say such things. Do it. Crush him completely. Let's see if he still dares to say such big words. Immediately, the group of people flew into a rage. Their eyes were bloodshot, and they looked like they were fighting bulls. They had the advantage in numbers, millions of them. No matter how they looked at it, they had the absolute advantage. But this kid actually said they were here to die. If this wasn't arrogance, then what was? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, more than 10,000 Poison Clan disciples attacked. Black poisonous gas erupted from their bodies, condensing into poisonous snakes, as if they were endowed with intelligence. They attacked in all directions. Not only were they extremely fast, but the poisonous gas contained strong toxicity. The surrounding people all retreated in fear, lest they breathed in the poisonous gas and got themselves involved. Xiaoping didn't even bother to look. He took a step forward, and without any disguise, he struck out with his palm. Buddhist divine power, merciful palm. This palm was golden in color, and a swastika symbol appeared in the center of the palm. Buddhist scriptures could be vaguely seen, as if there were countless Buddhas chanting sutras. Many strange phenomena appeared in the surroundings, and lotus flowers were branded in the void, emitting a fragrance. It was just a palm. The 10,000 Poison Clan disciples didn't know what was happening, but they immediately felt the terrifying power of the palm that could destroy everything. Dong! They let out shrill screams, and their bodies shattered like watermelons. They instantly turned into nothingness, leaving the virtual space. Their souls were damaged. Even when the palm swept out, it blasted hundreds of onlookers away, easily injuring them. The palm wind created a mark that was dozens of kilometers long. In the end, the palm print stopped on a building that was hundreds of meters tall in the distance. It blasted out a golden palm print, and the reinforced concrete walls appeared in the shape of glass. There was a faint swastika symbol imprinted on it. The entire skyscraper seemed to be shrouded in golden light, as if it was illuminated by the Buddha's light. It was extremely mystical. He's indeed a monster who passed the 5th level of the Panwu Pagoda. His battle prowess far surpasses his peers, and Dharma can't kill him. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. As the saying goes, once an expert makes a move, one will know whether or not he is real. It doesn't matter how loud you talk. Once you make a move, you will know whether or not you have real ability. However, Xiaoping's palm strike shocked them completely. It was a palm strike that ordinary golden cores could not match. Even the spectators trembled. This palm strike was truly like a Buddha descending from the void. Buddha light illuminated everything, bringing salvation to all living beings. Countless people were willing to prostrate themselves on the ground and worship it on the spot. Wu-Wuti, many Arhut clansmen were also astonished. No one was more astonished than them. They considered themselves to be the descendants of Buddhism and had a very deep perception. They knew Buddhist martial arts like the back of their hands. But when they saw Xiaoping's palm, their hearts were shaken. This was clearly a peerless demon, but he could actually use Buddhist martial arts to such an extent. Could it be that this demon's understanding of Buddhist scriptures was deeper than theirs? But how was that possible? They did not want to believe such a ridiculous thing. One of us is not his match at all. We must join forces and attack together. Immediately set up a large formation and trap him. Let's take turns to exhaust his magical power. Our people are endless. I don't believe that we can't exhaust him to death. Without a doubt, victory will definitely belong to us. This Wu-Wuti will definitely die this time. Everyone was filled with murderous intent. Even though Xiaoping had displayed strength that far exceeded those of the same level, it still could not make them retreat. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. No matter how powerful this kid was, he was only one person, and it was difficult for him to match so many forces. Myriad Poison Peach Blossom Formation. Many disciples of the Myriad Poison clan acted instantly. They appeared in tens of thousands of disciples, scattered everywhere. Each formed a node of the formation, and a terrifying large formation was formed in an instant. In an instant, the large formation covered dozens of miles, and pink peach blossoms grew in the surroundings. It was as if the area had turned into a peach blossom forest, and it was a riot of colors. But these were not ordinary peach blossoms, but peach blossoms that contained countless strange poisons in the world. When these peach blossoms fell, they corroded the ground, and even filled the air with poisonous gas that could poison cultivators to death. Even creatures with poison resistance would be knocked unconscious by these peach blossoms, unable to move. Angel 6-direction formation. A group of angels attacked too. They were spread out in 6 directions, and in an instant, a huge hexagram formation appeared. Endless holy light surged from their bodies. This huge formation was extremely powerful, and rays of angelic light surged out. This was also known as the light of purification. When it was blasted out, it could completely purify the enemy, causing them to disappear into the void. Blazing octagonal formation. This was the attack of the geniuses of the Firebear clan. Terrifying fire magic surged out from their bodies, and a huge fire formation covered the area, absorbing the power of the flames in the air. Vajra Demon subduing formation. The monks of the Luohan clan also attacked. They were like angry Arhats, displaying the art of subduing demons. Their bodies shone with golden light, as if they were possessed by Buddha. Rays of Buddha light appeared one after another, piercing through the void. Countless Sanskrit characters appeared, and sutras surged out, turning into Vajra, suppressing the world with boundless power. Many forces acted at the same time. One after another, super formations stacked on top of each other. It was as if a world was crushing down on Xiaoping, containing terrifying destructive power. They wanted to suppress Xiaoping in an instant, leaving him no room to fight back. Looks like Wu-Wuti is dead for sure. The surrounding onlookers shook their heads and sighed when they saw this. Facing the attack of so many golden core perfected ones, even if Wu-Wuti was a monster who passed upon Wu Trial Tower, he would not be able to escape. After all, when a number of people reached a certain level, the quantity would lead to a qualitative change. No matter how monstrous a cultivator was, it was impossible to resist so many people. It was difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands. Forget it. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish and send you to the Yellow Springs. Seeing the formation attack him, Xiaoping was not afraid at all. His eyes lit up, and with a whoosh, he took out a Dharma treasure projection, the reincarnation brush. Chapter 1682. Huh, what's that? It's a pen. What's wrong with him? Why did he take out a pen at such a critical moment? Is he writing a will? What the hell? We're already at this point. Can we make it in time? There must be a conspiracy. Immediately, someone sensed that Xia Ping had taken out a treasure. Their divine senses were extremely sensitive, and they sensed that the golden pen was emitting an extraordinary aura. It gave them a strong sense of threat. They didn't believe that this kid took out a pen at such a critical moment to write a will. There must be a great secret behind it. Die. Xia Ping didn't waste time talking to them. He gripped the reincarnation pen tightly and infused his mana into it. Then he drew in the air. Dong! In an instant, the reincarnation pen exploded with terrifying sharpness. It was a cold white light that seemed to tear the sky in half. It was terrifying beyond compare. The closest to Xia Ping was the 1,000 Poison Peach Blossom Array. The disciples of the 1,000 Poison Clan were the first to bear the brunt of the attack. They were instantly hit by the white light. They didn't even have time to react. The entire array was torn apart like tofu and collapsed completely. It couldn't withstand the sharpness at all. Even the disciples of the 1,000 Poison Clan were hit by the sharpness. It sliced horizontally and the cut was smooth. It was as if they were hit by a peerless sword. Their entire bodies were cut in half. One by one, the disciples of the Wandu clan let out shrill screams. They were shocked to discover that not only were their bodies cut into two halves, but even their souls were severely injured by this sharp light. Clearly, the power of the pen could pass through the virtual network and injure their souls. If a normal death in the virtual universe could recover their soul energy after resting for a month, they would need to rest for at least 3 years to recover. Die. After killing the disciples of the 1,000 Poison Clan, Xia Ping didn't stop. The wings of the Kunpeng appeared on his back, and he was extremely fast. With the reincarnation pen in hand, he unleashed the sharpness and charged at the geniuses of the Angel Clan. He drew again. 7 or 8 rays of sharpness appeared in the air. They cut through the air, separated yin and yang, and formed a terrifying killing net. Boom! The angel hexagon formation set up by the angels was instantly destroyed, and even their bodies were struck by the sharp light. In an instant, they were cut into 7 or 8 pieces, dripping with blood. Endless white light radiated from their bodies. That was the angel light, which tried to destroy all energy attacks. However, it was useless against the reincarnation brush. Even the angel light was cut in half. With just a single strike, all of these angels were killed. Not a single one was spared. The reincarnation brush is really too powerful. It's really the path of reincarnation that separates life and death. Xia Ping was extremely shocked right now. He could feel that the might of this brush was beyond his imagination. Even though it was sealed right now, just the sharpness of the brush alone was enough to kill everything in its path. It was comparable to a supreme Great Spirit weapon or even a half-step saint weapon. He felt that it was too easy for him to defeat his enemies with this pen. No matter what kind of divine ability the enemy used, no matter what magic treasures they were wearing, as long as the reincarnation brush made a gentle stroke, it would be able to cut them into 2 halves and completely pulverize them. Moreover, as he manipulated the writing brush and activated the power of the samsara brush, every single hair on the tip of the brush seemed to be able to release a sharp force that could cut through everything, cut through yin and yang, draw reincarnation, and determine the universe. No one could imagine how terrifyingly powerful the reincarnation brush was at its peak. However, fortunately, he had sealed the reincarnation brush. Otherwise, with the power of the reincarnation brush at its peak, it would have sucked all of his chi in one breath and turned him into a dried corpse. Damn it! What kind of treasure is that? It's too powerful. We can't stop it at all. Oh my God, I was wearing a top-grade defensive spiritual weapon, yet it was cut in half with just one strike. Even my body was cut into dozens of pieces. I can't stop it at all. Sacred artifact. This is definitely a sacred artifact with an endless amount of power. This is too much. This is against the rules. How can this bastard have a saint weapon? This doesn't make sense at all. Right? This might be a supreme treasure left behind by the Pan Wu Tower. He got it from the 5th level of the Tower of Trials, the Pan Wu Saint's treasure. Damn it! How did this demon get his hands on a treasure like this? In this way, who could resist his ferocious might? The heavens are so unfair. Everyone howled, unwilling to accept this. Countless people joined hands and set up a great formation, trying to suppress Wu Wudi so that he would never be able to reincarnate. However, Xia Tian only used a brush to kill them everywhere, easily defeating them. How could they accept this? He was truly unwilling to accept this outcome. However, Xia Ping didn't care whether they were willing or not. Anyone who dared to stand in his way had to be killed. With the reincarnation brush in hand, he was like a tiger in a flock of sheep, killing without restraint. Every time he appeared, the reincarnation brush would draw gently, and a great formation would collapse. The group of people would spit out blood and be heavily injured. Then he would draw again, and the heavily injured people would be cut into dozens of pieces. Heavily injured, they quickly disappeared from the virtual universe. Oh no, we're no match for him at all. This saint weapon is too powerful. We'll die if we stand in front of it. Retreat, retreat quickly. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices. This treasure is extremely strange. It can even harm the soul of the user. Even if the virtual universe weakens it, it won't be of much use. Don't die here for nothing. A group of people fled, extremely shocked. They had received news that those who were killed by the reincarnation brush seemed to have their souls heavily injured. Some of their injuries were so severe that they directly fell into a state of unconsciousness. Although they didn't die, it was worse than death. Who knew how many resources and time they would need to recover from the damage to their souls? This was unbearable. Hearing this news, they were finally afraid. Even if they stayed in the virtual universe, they might not be immortal. There were still powerful treasures that could harm the soul. Yes, the aura seems to be getting stronger. Xiaoping's eyes gleamed. He realized that the more enemies the reincarnation brush killed, the stronger the aura it emitted. The seal on it was also slowly weakening. The sharpness of the brush became more and more terrifying. The enemies couldn't block it at all. Often a white light would strike and the group of people would die. So that's how it is. Devouring souls can remove the seal on the reincarnation brush and strengthen its power. Xiaoping quickly figured out the reason behind it. The reincarnation pin must have the ability to devour souls, so he could take it for himself. Chapter 1683. Stop, Wu Wudi. We're the geniuses of the peacock race. Do you want to fight to the death with us? Hurry up and stop. There might still be a chance to ease the tension. At that moment, a group of geniuses tried to threaten Xiaoping and find a chance to escape. They knew that the kid's Dharma treasure was terrifying and could hurt their souls. Therefore, they didn't want to die at Xiaoping's hands and suffer heavy losses. I told you not to attack, but you didn't listen. This is the result of being disobedient. If I don't hurt you, you won't understand. Xiaoping held the reincarnation brush and lightly tapped the air. Dong! This beam of white light instantly pierced through the array set up by the peacock race's prodigies. It shattered like glass, and at the same time produced a terrifying backlash. The next second, the peacock race geniuses let out miserable screams as they were all killed by the reincarnation brush. The reincarnation brush also devoured some of the soul energy they left behind and seemed to be growing stronger. Stop, Wu Wudi. We're innocent. We're just onlookers. We have no grievances with you. Don't attack us. A group of onlookers shouted, indicating that they were innocent. They were just onlookers and had no intention of attacking Wu Wudi. Seeing batch after batch of geniuses die, falling in real time from the virtual world, caused them to be terrified to the extreme. They were afraid that Xiaoping would attack them and cause them to die a violent death, bringing disaster to the fish pond. Innocent? No snowflake is innocent in an avalanche. Why don't you understand that? Xiaoping sighed. The reincarnation brush in his hand attacked. Beams of cold light shot out and intertwined in the air, forming a huge net of death that cut through everything. Bang! 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 The geniuses hiding in the surroundings were all killed. It was useless even if they tried to hide in the buildings. A brush instantly tore a building apart and split their bodies in half. In just a breath's time, thousands of people were killed. Spare me. Don't kill me. As long as you're willing to let me go, I swear that I will retreat in the future and never attack you again. Seeing Xia Ping's ferocious might, killing golden core cultivators as easily as killing chickens, many geniuses were so scared that they lost all their courage. They quickly begged for mercy, hoping to live. Retreat? No need. It's better for you to die. That way, even if you want to deal with me, you won't be able to. Besides, your O's are no different from farting. Who would dare to believe it? Xia Ping showed no mercy, like a tiger in a flock of sheep. As long as the reincarnation brush shook slightly, a ray of light would shoot out. No matter where they hid, no matter what kind of protective divine ability they used, they would be pierced in an instant. The land was completely destroyed by this power. Countless buildings were destroyed, and the ground was full of potholes like the surface of the moon. These people who begged for mercy were quickly wiped out and disappeared from the virtual network. This peerless devil is vicious and cruel. He has no humanity at all. Fight it out with him. Fight to the death. I don't believe that his magic power is limitless. That's right. We have the advantage in numbers. Even if he has a sacred artifact in his hand, so what? Even if we beg for mercy now, this devil won't let us go. If that's the case, then even if I die, I will bite off a piece of his flesh. All the geniuses clenched their teeth and faced death calmly. Even if they wanted to beg for mercy now, this devil wouldn't let them go. If that's the case, then they will fight it out with him. Even if they die, they will bite off a piece of his flesh. You want to fight it out with your life? You won't give up until you die. Seeing this, Xia Ping shook his head. If fighting it out with your life is useful, then why do we need geniuses and saints? Rumble, in an instant, all of his chi was poured into the reincarnation brush. Every single strand of hair emitted white holy light, as if it was activating thousands of sword chi. Xia Ping held the reincarnation brush, and the brush danced in the air. Immediately, a huge painting of mountains and rivers was drawn out. It was a painting of mountains and rivers. Hundreds of thousands of mountains, countless rivers, deserts, valleys, and even various birds and beasts walked out from the depths of the mountains. It was extremely lifelike. It was so lifelike that it was as if a world was reviving. Dong! He waved softly, and the painting fell from the sky, covering tens of thousands of kilometers. It was as if a small world was crashing into Panwu City. When the painting descended, the mountains and rivers transformed into countless strands of sword chi that pierced through the void and destroyed everything in its path. Bang, bang, bang! All the geniuses were caught off guard and shrieked in pain. Their bodies were like rags and were easily pierced through. Blood flowed everywhere, and broken bones were everywhere. Xia Ping didn't care how these people begged for mercy, how desperate they were, how angry they were. With the reincarnation brush in hand, he was like the king of hell that judged the lives and deaths of all races. Dong, dong, dong! The entire Panwu City resounded with the sound of war drums. Every collision was incomparably intense and impassioned, emitting an incomparably tragic aura. The battle went on for a full 2 hours. Almost no one could be seen within a radius of 100,000 kilometers. Half of Panwu City was destroyed by this battle. Broken limbs and corpses were everywhere, and the ground was full of potholes. In the center of the battle, the only building that remained standing was the Panwu Trial Pagoda. The white pagoda seemed to be unchanging. No matter what happened, it couldn't be shaken and remained immortal. The enemies from the Western universe and the Southern universe, who were originally furious, could continuously send experts in to fight Xia Ping, but now they didn't dare to send anyone in, because at least 10 million people had died in this battle. Who knew how many geniuses had been killed? Moreover, Wu Wudi's aura didn't weaken at all. Not only did it not weaken, but it seemed to grow stronger as the battle went on. He was a super monster that couldn't be killed. They quickly realized that even after all their reinforcements died, this kid's magic power still hadn't been used up. Perhaps the only way to deal with this kid was to use divine artifacts. The problem was that using divine artifacts was a big problem. Without the consent of the elders, they couldn't use them. Even if they wanted to have a meeting now, it was too late. This also caused them to not dare to send people to die. Is there no one who dares to come? Xiaoping held the reincarnation brush and stood on a piece of barren land. There was a feeling of loneliness like snow. It seemed that no one dared to fight him anymore. He killed so many enemies that they were terrified. However, this battle also gave him many benefits. The reincarnation brush devoured a lot of soul energy. Let's go. Chapter 1684. At this time, the prodigies who had been killed by Xiaoping also left the virtual universe. However, they all let out miserable screams, and their faces were filled with extreme fear. This was because their souls had been severely injured by the reincarnation brush and were almost torn apart. They had suffered almost irreparable injuries. No, my soul was torn apart by that bitch. Oh my God, your soul has been torn apart. How can you recover like this? Not to mention 3 months, you might not be able to recover naturally even after 3 years. No. I originally planned to advance to the restoration realm. I've already reached the perfected golden core realm. Now it's all over. My soul is damaged, and there's no hope for me to advance. My life is over. Wu Wuti, you destroyed my future. I will not live under the same sky as you. We must kill this bitch and take revenge. He's completely ruined us this time. How can this be? This was clearly a simple mission. How did it become like this? That kid didn't die, but we lost 8 generations of our bloodline. Is there any justice in this world? If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have participated in this mission. Now, not only did I not get any benefits, but I also caused trouble. It's over. My life is over. Who can compensate me for my losses? All the prodigies wailed in grief and indignation. Their hatred for Xiaoping had reached its peak. They had thought that they would not die in the virtual network, but they did not expect that Wu Wuti would have such a powerful divine artifact on him. He had killed them all and caused them to lose everything. Now, even their souls have been severely damaged. Some of them had even damaged their foundations and had no hope of advancing in this lifetime. As the saying goes, blocking one's path to wealth was like killing one's parents. Now, they have been destroyed and their hopes of advancing. Such hatred could not be described with words. Some prodigies were so regretful that their intestines turned green. If they had known that Wu Wuti was so cruel, they would not have participated in this mission. Not only did they not get any benefits, but they had also suffered such losses. After all, to recover from soul injuries required resources that ordinary people could not imagine. It was possible that they would go bankrupt. One could imagine how regretful they were now. They wished they could turn back time. The news that Xiaoping had destroyed half of Panwu City and killed tens of millions of people spread quickly. Countless people in the universe knew about it. Even if some people wanted to hide it, they could not. This news completely shocked the world, and countless people were dumbfounded. This Wu Wuti is too powerful. He's a peerless demon. In a single battle, tens of millions of people were killed. If this was the real world, rivers of blood would flow. Who knows how many geniuses would fall? Just thinking about it makes one shudder. Don't think that Wu Wuti hasn't done such things before. I remember that not long ago, he went to the Southern Universe and entered the territory of the 10,000 Poison Clan. In the end, he destroyed 20 commercial planets and caused trillions of people to go missing. Of course, those humans were just ordinary humans. The impact wasn't as great as it is now. After all, the living beings in Panwu City are at least treasure refining realm experts. Most of them are golden core enlightened masters. And those who were killed by Wu Wuti didn't have it easy either. It's said that their souls were torn apart by the power of the Sage artifact. If they weren't in the virtual network, they would have died long ago. Isn't that right? Even so, their souls are injured and they won't be able to log into the virtual universe for at least 3 years. Some of them even have their foundations damaged and won't be able to level up again. Their futures will be ruined. He's indeed a peerless demon. I didn't expect him to commit such heinous crimes just in the virtual network. Everyone was shocked by this news, and started discussing it. They were afraid of the name Wu Wuti. It was as if they had seen the birth of a peerless demon that dominated the universe. Many families warned their own people that if they met the demon Wu Wuti, they should flee immediately. They must not fight him head-on, or else their entire family might be wiped out. Xiaoping's battle had completely shocked countless people. Even if there was a bountiful bounty, they still had to weigh their own abilities. Otherwise, they wouldn't be chasing after a wanted criminal, but sending themselves to their deaths. The Southern Universe's 10,000 Poison Clan, the Northern Universe's Mystic Heaven Clan, and the various higher-ups of the Western Universe also received this news. Their faces were as black as coal, and dark clouds covered their faces. This Wu Wuti is getting more and more dangerous. He has now passed the 5th level of the Panwu Trial Tower and obtained a supreme treasure. His strength has improved by leaps and bounds. There's no doubt that his aptitude is extremely amazing. He's a sage's seed. If he doesn't die, he will definitely become a sage. Moreover, he has a terrifying monster like the zombie beast enslaved on him, and he has a sage artifact in his hand. If he becomes a sage one day, how powerful will he be? Will anyone be able to do anything to him? It would be best to have such a person as a friend. Unfortunately, he has become an enemy, so we must get rid of him. Otherwise, we will be in trouble in the future, and we will be hunted until there's no way out. We must not let him continue to grow. Issue a comprehensive bounty. We must hunt down Wu Wuti, find his whereabouts, and kill him without mercy. Many of the higher-ups had solemn expressions. They immediately made a decision to hunt down Wu Wuti with unprecedented strength. They had to get rid of this unprecedented enemy. Otherwise, they would not be able to eat or sleep in peace. The current Wu Wuti already had the ability to shake the foundation of their rule. Whether it was his aptitude to pass the Panwu Trial Tower or his terrifying monster like the zombie beast, it was enough for them to raise Xiaoping's danger to an unprecedented level. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, messages were passed down. Countless forces in the universe were in operation, and they had to find Wu Wuti's whereabouts. A dense net was cast, and Wu Wuti had nowhere to run. In the depths of the universe, many powerful divine wills were interweaving and communicating. Those were the thoughts of sages, and they had also received all kinds of information about Wu Wuti. Old friend, someone has obtained Saint Panwu's inheritance. How many years has it been? Has someone finally obtained Panwu's inheritance? Congratulations. It seems that in the future, our human race will definitely have one more powerful sage. Haha. Someone actually passed such a difficult trial. I thought that no one would be able to pass it. I want to see what that junior looks like. But that kid seems to have caused quite a bit of trouble. He has offended many forces and is causing quite a ruckus. It's just a small fight between juniors. It's nothing. Should we stop them from messing around? No need. This is also a training. Without training, how can one become a sage? Then let's look forward to it. I hope he can surprise us. Let's wait and see. Chapter 1685. In the space of the mountain and river pearl. Xiaoping was sitting cross-legged in a quiet room. Beep. At this moment, the system's voice sounded. Congratulations, host. You have provoked a large number of enemies from the Western Universe. This time, you have received a total of 30 hatred crystals. I hope you can continue to work hard. 30 hatred crystals? Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He knew that he would definitely receive a lot of hatred crystals this time. It seemed that it had exceeded his expectations. This time, many people probably hated him to the bone. However, to be able to make up for the hatred crystals he had spent learning the Panwu Sutra, it could be considered a huge gain. However, he was not in the mood to pay attention to this because he could feel that he was at the critical moment of breaking through. The primordial spirit in the depths of the golden core seemed to be about to be born. Walala, Xiaoping took out a large number of spirit stones, spirit herbs, and other treasures. He used the sun furnace and instantly refined these resources, turning them into majestic energy that was infused into his body and absorbed by the golden core. Wave after wave of pure energy was infused into his body, like rivers flowing into the ocean, causing the golden core in his body to emit endless golden light. It was incomparably mystical, and ancient scriptures could be vaguely seen on the surface of the golden core. After an unknown period of time, the energy of the golden core in his body seemed to have reached a saturation state. Pa pa pa. Immediately, the huge golden core made crackling sounds. The incomparably hard outer shell of the golden core cracked like an eggshell, and countless fragments fell. Boom! In an instant, a figure walked out from the depths of the golden core. It was completely naked, and its appearance was exactly the same as Xiaoping's. Its entire body was condensed from energy, and it seemed to communicate with heaven and earth, causing the qi of heaven and earth to tremble. The broken golden core fragments also instantly fused into the body of this figure, and a large amount of energy was infused into it, causing the figure to turn from illusory to real, completely solidifying. It stood on a lotus flower and emitted the aura of a god. Vaguely, there seemed to be immortals blowing conches, beating drums, chanting sutras, and ancient people praying. Many mysterious phenomena appeared around Xiaoping, and the surrounding essence energy condensed into energy lotuses that fell from the sky. It was a deluge of heavenly flowers. Primordial spirit. Without a doubt, this was the supreme primordial spirit that Xiaoping had condensed. Returning nature realm. Xiaoping instantly knew that he had finally broken through to the returning nature realm and condensed his primordial spirit. This process was extremely smooth, and there were no hiccups. This was also because his accumulation was truly too deep, and his foundation was perfect and flawless. Thus, condensing a soul was something that came naturally, and nothing unexpected would happen. Is this an essence soul? Xiaoping sensed that his primordial spirit was in the depths of his Zifu. It was like another body of his. His consciousness was immersed in the primordial spirit. He felt that his primordial spirit could shed its shell. Whoosh! In an instant, his primordial spirit left his body like a soul leaving its shell. It rose into the air and looked down at the land around him. He could clearly see his body sitting cross-legged on the ground, and he could also see the surrounding scenery. He was not looking with his eyes, but with his divine sense. Therefore, he was observing from a 360-degree angle, without any blind spots. It was like a god's view. He felt that even if his body was completely destroyed, with just his primordial spirit, he would be able to survive for a very long time, and he could even possess someone else's body. This was the power of the primordial spirit. It was like a different level of life. But possessing someone else's body was a big taboo, and at the same time, because the primordial spirit and the body would not be compatible, it would lead to many problems. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, no cultivator in the returning nature realm would be willing to possess someone else's body. I see. Xiaoping carefully felt the power of his primordial spirit. He realized that after he condensed his primordial spirit, he could devour the energy of the void at any time and anywhere, opening a dimensional space and replenishing the energy consumed in his body. This way, he did not even need to breathe, and he did not even need to eat. He could directly devour the qi of heaven and earth, and he could survive. This was the state of immortality for those who eat qi. The so-called gods referred to the primordial spirit. Therefore, he could now travel through space with his physical body, survive, and fight in a vacuum state. Even if the spaceship was destroyed, it would not be able to kill him. One amazing primordial spirit. Xiaoping felt his primordial spirit, and he discovered more and more mysteries of his primordial spirit. Ordinary returning nature realm cultivators could not let their primordial spirit leave their body for too long. This would cause the primordial spirit to weaken, and it would be injured by all kinds of accidents. Therefore, if it was not necessary, it should not be done. But now that his primordial spirit had left his body for more than 10 minutes, he still did not feel any discomfort. He immediately realized that this was the credit of the world tree. At this moment, there was a world tree living in the depths of his primordial spirit. All the roots, branches, and other things on it had become the meridians and blood vessels of his primordial spirit, supporting the entire primordial spirit. Because of the relationship between the world tree, his primordial spirit was extremely stable, like a tree rooted in the soil. Even if it encountered a storm, there would be no problem. Therefore, he could leave his primordial spirit for as long as he wanted. Communicating with the dimensional space. Xiaoping also found that it was easier for him to communicate with the dimensional space. Even without the help of the world tree, he could easily sense the unique and powerful dimensional space in the depths of the void. But with the help of the world tree, he could go deeper into the dimensional space and sense the powerful dimensional worlds. Dong dong dong. At this moment, his primordial spirit trembled, and the world tree trembled. One by one, its branches pierced into the void, extending into the depths of the dimensional space, and opening up a passage to the dimensional space. Immediately, hundreds and thousands of black holes appeared above Xiaoping's head. They were so dense that it made one's scalp go numb. These black holes were all spatial passages that connected to the dimensional worlds. Rumble, the roots of the world tree trembled and pierced into these dimensional spaces, producing a terrifying suction force. Immediately, a huge amount of energy surged out of these dimensional spaces like a flood and poured down continuously. With Xiaoping's body as the center, the area within a radius of thousands of miles became a land of energy tides. This pure, majestic energy was infused into his body as if it was free. The Zifu space in his body, which was originally in a state of withered state, was immediately replenished by this energy. It was as if the earth had suddenly encountered a flood after a drought of 3 months. This is too awesome. Xiaoping was very excited. Devouring the energy of the dimensional space like this was like consuming dozens of 10,000-year-old elixirs, and it was the kind that cost nothing. Crazily infused into his body. Chapter 1686. A few days later, Xiaoping had completely stabilized his early stage of the returning truth realm. At this moment, his body had undergone an earth-shattering transformation. He had completely transformed, becoming incomparably powerful. His muscles were as translucent as glass, and his entire body was flawless. This was the state of returning to the basics. And after advancing to the returning nature realm, his dermic power and divine sense power were more than 10 times stronger than before. The Purple Mansion space had also expanded by 10 times. Originally, to fill up the entire Purple Mansion space required a large amount of time and elixirs. But Xiaoping communicated with the dimensional space and absorbed a large amount of dimensional energy. In just a few days, the Purple Mansion space was filled to the brim. His dermic power was like an ocean. At the same time, his primordial spirit also displayed all sorts of mystical abilities. The martial arts techniques in his body condensed into talismans and merged into the depths of his primordial spirit. Dense talismans appeared. Looking from afar, it was as if an ancient scripture was being born in his body. Even every leaf on the world tree in the depths of his primordial spirit seemed to have turned into a talisman that contained infinite power. It made the power of his primordial spirit even stronger. Dong! Xiaoping gently punched forward. Immediately, the wind from the punch vibrated and a crack that was tens of kilometers long was instantly formed. Many mountains were crushed into powder. He felt that his dermic power was more than 10 times stronger than when he was in the Golden Core realm. But after advancing to the returning nature realm, it was not all good. Because the Golden Core transformed into the primordial spirit, the cultivator could not self-destruct and lost the power to perish together with the enemy. But after condensing the primordial spirit, the ability to protect oneself was greatly increased. Even if the body was destroyed by the enemy, the primordial spirit could escape quickly and even possess another body to be reborn. From this perspective, the survival ability of the returning nature realm was many times stronger than that of the Golden Core realm. After all, if the Golden Core self-destructed, it would only perish together with the enemy. Once the Golden Core exploded, the cultivator would also die, and there was no possibility of revival. Panwu True Scripture. At this moment, Xiaoping thought of the Panwu true scripture that he had obtained from the Panwu trial tower. This was a technique that he could only cultivate after advancing to the returning nature realm and condensing the primordial spirit. Once he succeeded in cultivating it, he would immediately possess 9 primordial spirits and 9 purple palace spaces. At that time, the amount of magic power in his body would be so dense that it would frighten others to death. Cultivators of the same level as him would be annihilated with a single punch. However, it was not easy to successfully cultivate the Panwu Sutra. The first step was to split his primordial spirit into 9 parts. However, splitting one's primordial spirit was an extremely dangerous thing to do. Even if it was successful, the primordial spirit would be extremely weak, and it might not recover even after several hundred years. Therefore, if he wanted to cultivate it successfully, he would need a treasure that could repair his soul and strengthen his soul energy. As he split his soul, he would be able to heal the injuries on his primordial spirit. Looks like I'll have to rely on the system to exchange for some treasures that can strengthen my soul energy. Xiaoping planned to use the system to exchange for soul treasures to help him cultivate the Panwu true scripture. Host, you don't need to exchange at all. The angelic crystal you have is the best soul treasure, the system said. Is there such a thing? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He had obtained many angelic crystals. He even had 2 from the lightning tribulation realm. As for the transcendence realm and returning nature realm, he had over 1,000 angelic crystals. However, no matter how he thought about it, he could not find a way to use the angelic crystals. Of course, the system said, every angelic crystal contains the essence of an angel. It condenses all of their soul energy. If the angelic crystal is not destroyed, they could be resurrected in the future through the angelic crystal. If the host can refine the soul energy deep within the angelic crystal, then it will definitely be able to satisfy the host's need to cultivate the Panwu Sutra. However, there is a problem. What problem? Xiaoping asked. The angelic energy in the angelic crystal has impurities. It contains the will of the Lord. The system said, if the host devours the angelic crystal's energy, the more you devour, the more will of the Lord in you. When it reaches a certain level, you will become an angel and become the servant of the Lord, forever enslaved. I see. Xiaoping nodded. He was not surprised at all. After all, the angelic crystal contained a large amount of pure energy. Many people in the universe should know about it, but no one went to hunt angels and obtain angelic crystals. Presumably, those major forces also knew the drawbacks of the angelic crystal. If they accidentally refined it, they would become the Lord's servant and be enslaved forever. This was not a treasure, but a trap. This was also why those angels were not worried about losing their angelic crystals to the outside world. They were not afraid that the other party would devour angelic crystals. When it reached a certain level, the other party would become the Lord's servant. Who is the Lord? Xiaoping asked curiously. The Lord is the source of angels. It cannot be said, understood, or described. The system did not explain. Since you said these things, do you have a way to erase the impurities in the angelic crystal? Xiaoping's eyes lit up. 10 hatred crystals. The system's answer was also very simple. Erase it. Xiaoping nodded. Anyway, it was only 10 hatred crystals. This was the key to whether he could successfully cultivate the Panwu Sutra. He could not be stingy here. With a whoosh, he waved his hand and immediately released the angelic crystal on his body. Boom! Immediately, a mysterious force descended from the void and bombarded these angelic crystals. Like a destructive divine light, it erased all matter. Blasphemer! How dare you blaspheme the Lord? The Lord will not let you off. Human, you are dead. Under the gaze of the Lord, no one can hide. Human, I will wait for you to die. Shrill screams came from the depths of these angelic crystals. They let out sounds of unwillingness, and faint images of angels appeared. Among them were the figures of Oliver, Harley, and the other angelic elders. They seemed to have suffered the greatest torture in the world. They were cut into thousands of pieces, pierced by rays of light, and obliterated. In just a moment, these screams ended and came to an abrupt stop. The soul and will in the depths of the angelic crystals also quickly turned into a wisp of green smoke and disappeared from the space. Cleanup complete, the system replied. As expected, there's something fishy. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. He was secretly glad that he had the system. Otherwise, if he rashly used these angelic crystals, he might unknowingly fall into the enemy's trap.